It's a Halloween theme for homecoming here on the campus of Georgia Tech. Oh, you got skeletons, you got pumpkins, you got the Ramblin' Wreck, you got the Georgia Tech fans, and they are excited about their Ramblin' Wreck from Georgia Tech. This presentation of ACC College Football presented by your local Ford dealer as the Jackets take the field. And they host the Virginia Tech Hokies. It's the 18th all-time meeting between the programs, and Georgia Tech has won 3 of the last 4. It is so great to have you with us for our game this afternoon. Tom Wormy along with James Bates. Wiley Ballard will join us from the sidelines in just a moment. Speaking of Atlanta, Georgia, Bates, this is the place to be when you're talking about football and especially baseball as well.
Oh, all the excitement you can handle. We've got the 1990 National Championship team will be honored here today. A great football game about to kick off at high noon. And the Braves won last night, got another game tonight. Is Freaknik in town? Because it's all happening right here. It's in the summer, I know that.
Yeah, exactly. And trick-or-treating tomorrow, but right now it's time to check out the Hardy Star to watch. And it's Jahmyr Gibbs, the freshman running back for Georgia Tech. He does it on the ground, he does it receiving, and also in the return game, James.
You're right. He's got the speed, he's got the moves, he's got the great hands, really the complete package. And all that times 10 because he's grown up, he's matured as a football player. I think a perfect example is against Virginia last weekend. He had the 71-yard touchdown run that was supposed to hit on the right side of the line, but it showed patience. Those linebackers go flying over the top, patience, and then the moves, and then the ability when he makes up his mind to do something to go make it happen. It's pretty, and he's dangerous. And you know what? He's from Dalton, Georgia, after all, the carpet capital of the world. So you know he gets stuff done on the ground.
Absolutely. And guess what? Virginia Tech has also found a running back for its offensive side of the football. And for more on that, let's go down to the sidelines of Wiley Ballard.
You're exactly right, Tom. This time last week, Virginia Tech's offense was looking for a boost of confidence. And although they came up short against Syracuse last weekend, they scored a season-high 36 points over 400 yards. Maybe they found something. And what they found was true freshman running back Malachi Thomas. He rushed for over 150 yards, scored 3 touchdowns. And I asked the Hartwell, Georgia native, what was the secret behind last Saturday's big performance? He said, well, I studied my playbook, my coaches trust me, my teammates trust me, and I feel like I've caught up to speed real quick as a true freshman at Virginia Tech. And today's a special day for him. A Georgia native, he received very few Power 5 offers out of high school, and now he has a chance to show his home state just how good he is.
Wiley, thank you. Look forward to your reports throughout the game. Thomas, by the way, the first Virginia Tech freshman with 3 TDs in a game since 1987. 57 degrees, but it feels like 52. Those breezes, 10 miles per hour, and we are moments away. Get your final bite of that hamburger or hot dog and get ready and settle in for some Halloween-themed college football in the ACC. Halloween tomorrow, Bates. I know you're going looking for candy tomorrow for sure.
So does that make it Hallows Eve?
Yes, it does.
All right, let's do it.
It makes it the day before Halloween.
Okay, let's do it.
Georgia Tech won the toss, deferred, and kicked it in the end zone. So Virginia Tech will have the ball first. So glad that you're with us as our season in the ACC rolls on as we hit Atlanta. Bobby Dodd Stadium, Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech, the 18th all-time meeting. Virginia Tech leads the series 10-7, and they'll start with the football after their loss at home against Syracuse last week. They let it slip away, Bates, 41-36 against the Orange with a late TD. And Braxton Burmeister, the starting quarterback for Virginia Tech.
You know, Tom, I was impressed with the fight. I know they would have liked to have gone away there with the win, but there was a lot of fight in this Hokie football team, and thanks in large part to Malachi Thomas, who takes the first carry. They finally got a spark that was missing so much in that run game behind that big offensive line, and personnel switching it up a little bit as they went with a lot of two tights in that game. Anxious to see what curveballs they throw Georgia Tech here today.
151 yards rushing last week from Malachi Thomas. Tries up the middle to the 30. And he got 3 yards. That'll bring up 3rd and about 5 for Virginia Tech.
Remember back to last week, that impressive opening drive by Braxton Burmeister in this Hokie offense. On that opening drive against Syracuse, they had 2 big third-down conversions.
James, our impact players brought to you by your local Toyota dealers.
Yeah, Malachi Thomas, Wiley told you all about him. And Brooks on that defensive front, former walk-on, hardest worker on this team, right in the middle.
Burmeister to the air. That is behind his receiver and short near midfield. Trey Turner, the intended receiver. That brings up 4th down. Zamari Walton was in coverage for Georgia Tech, and Virginia Tech must punt on his first possession.
Good job by Walton, stride for stride with Turner down that sidelines, and a nice 3-and-out for Jeff Collins' bunch on what he calls the money down there, 3rd down.
Peter Moore punts it away for Virginia Tech. Ray is the deep man. He let it bounce at the 35 and scoop it up at the 29. Spun around and dropped by several white shirts. And then we'll mark him at about the 26-yard line. Zende Ray on the return. And the quarterback for the Georgia Tech offense, 6'3", 210. Officially a freshman from Jacksonville, Florida, but he plays well beyond that and had so much experience last year running this offense, James.
Well, Tom, we keyed on Jahmyr Gibbs off the top, and justifiably so. He's a heck of a back. But pick your poison. Just like last week with Syracuse, this Virginia Tech defense did a really good job of shutting down one of the best backs in the nation in Sean Tucker. But it was the quarterback that tore him up on the ground. Jeff Sims and Jahmyr Gibbs are that similar type combo.
Dante Smith on the carry, only a yard. On that first play, Alan Tisdale makes the stop for Virginia Tech.
Dante Smith, a Tennessee guy, the sophomore from Spring Hill, Tennessee. 3 nice backs on this team that get a lot of the carries. Smith, Gibbs, and J.P. Mason.
Sims has it, left side. Room to run and a 1st down and more. Out of bounds near the 40-yard line as Waller forced him out. Sims got 15 yards on the carry.
Fantastic job by William Lay. See William Lay come around there and just wash down that right side of the defensive line. Nobody home there for Jeff Sims. Nice play call and an easy trot to a 1st down to move those chains.
Sims. Spinning was Gibbs near the 40. Gibbs, who ran for 132 yards on 13 carries. The rush yards a career high last week at Virginia in the loss 48-40. Georgia Tech made it interesting, recovering 2 consecutive onside kicks. Gibbs will cut this one back up the middle near the 45-yard line and get 6 yards for the freshman from Dalton, Georgia. Jordan Williams, James, made the stop.
Here's a good example of what I'm talking about with Gibbs. When he decides he's going to do something, it's as quick as a hiccup. A slow mesh right there on that read by Sims. When he gives that ball to Gibbs, boom, his feet are on the ground, and he goes and he gets us 5. Georgia Tech fans really pleased with the way he's running the football and catching it as well out of the backfield.
Georgia Tech just 36% on 3rd down, 12th in the conference, and they're not going to get this one as Sims gets dragged down by Jordan Williams, the Clemson transfer, and a junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Great job by Jordan Williams to use those hands and just take the proper angle to drop down, chuck your guy. You're going to see him right there in the middle, working on Minahan, using those hands, separate, and then reaching out there. Dax Hollyfield there to clean it up if he didn't get it. Nice stop by that defense to force a punt.
David Shanahan, the freshman from Castle Island, Ireland, is back there to punt. Tavion Robinson, number 9, in white, maroon, and orange, has to backtrack inside the 10. Circles at the 5. Kept his footing, diving forward, close to the 15-yard line for Tavion Robinson on the return for Virginia Tech. So we'll take a timeout. When we come back, the Hokies will have the ball for the 2nd time in the quarter. Happy Halloween from Atlanta.
In America, the future.
Your local Ford dealer. Visit your local Ford dealers today. By Synovus. Synovus, the proud sponsor of whatever inspires you. And by Yellowwood. Yellowwood. If it doesn't have the yellow tag, you don't want it. We are celebrating the 1990 National Championship team here at Georgia Tech today on homecoming. They went 11-0-1 and beat Nebraska in the Citrus Bowl 45-21. Sean Jones, the sophomore quarterback, was the MVP with a couple of TD passes and a rush TD. 1990. the national champs here in Atlanta.
Yes, sir. That's when Chubb Rock jumped upon the scene with a lean and a pocket full of green.
The 4th national championship in school history for Georgia Tech.
I didn't realize they won it down in Orlando, the Citrus Bowl.
With 11-0-1 that season. Thomas is the back. Burmeister will keep it, try to turn that corner, and he's out of bounds near the 30-yard line in front of the Georgia Tech bench. Forced out by Quez Jackson, and he got 14, and he downshifted, James.
Absolutely, a nice little read here. He's got to make one guy miss, and he does just that. Then it's up the sideline, off to the races. Braxton Burmeister getting crafty on the edge. They're not always designed run plays for Burmeister, and where he does most of his damage sometimes is just by creating almost a Sandlot type of style, and he's good at it.
He's the second leading rusher on the team, but wants to heave this one, spins it down the field and behind the receiver. Trey Turner got twisted around Zamari Walton, number 7 in blue and Tech gold back there with Trey Turner, the junior.
Yeah, they've gone at Zamari Walton a couple times here early today. I don't know that he could have adjusted to it, but some hands there late. Maybe they're calling it an uncatchable ball, but there's definitely some bumping when that ball was getting ready to come down. Zamari Walton, a sophomore from Melbourne, Florida. Over by Mosquito Lagoon, Space Coast.
That's a direct snap to Blackshear coming right near the 30-yard line. He gets toppled by the Georgia Tech defensive unit, led by Quez Jackson. Junior from Fort Valley, Georgia. Leading tackler on the team, came into the game with 66 tackles, and it's 3rd down for Virginia Tech.
Well, you can tell, stopping that running game that was pretty good last week for Virginia Tech. It was a top priority for Andrew Thacker's defense, forcing a 3rd down and long here. Got to make it to the 39.
Virginia Tech 8th in the conference on 3rd down. Long pass, wide open man. At the 40, it's Turner. Cuts it back to the 15, breaks a tackle. Trey Turner with a stiff arm and into the end zone. Burmeister to Turner, 69 yards and a Virginia Tech touchdown.
Fantastic protection. You're not going to see it right here, but to have this long, to have a pump, and then to be able to throw it out there. Confusion, obviously, in the Georgia Tech secondary, and taking advantage of it in a big way. Trey Turner, the most dynamic playmaker on this offense, getting involved early.
That's John Parker Romo for the extra point, and Justin Fuente's team strikes first. 69-yard pass play. Burmeister to a wide-open Trey Turner.
Here you go. Burmeister got back into the groove last week, and he just keeps on coming. Hokies on top, 7-0 early.
You're hiding cards.
Cheating scoundrel.
Welcome back, boys and girls. You may not want to watch this one if you're a Georgia Tech fan. Watch the pump. All the defensive backs wearing a Georgia Tech jersey, reading that screen, jumping on it. Nice play here. I'm guessing Brad Cornelison saw something in the tape coming up to this game, knowing that those guys are so aggressive for Georgia Tech, trying to step up and make a play on a 3rd down situation like that, but they all bite on the screen pump fake. But again, it all started with those offensive linemen, Justin Fuente's offensive line, just gobbling up the 4+1. They brought 5 guys, the Yellow Jackets did, but they didn't sniff Braxton Burmeister. They call him BB, but that's throwing pellets. Pellets are more dangerous than BBs, right?
8th touchdown thrown this season by Burmeister, and the 2nd receiving TD for Turner. Our Impact Players are brought to you by your local Toyota dealers, Bates.
All right, McGowan, he can make some big plays. Dropped one, unfortunately, early in the Virginia game and could have made it an even bigger spread early on. This is a Georgia Tech team that was up 16-0 last week in Charlottesville. And Nasir Peoples, we had that Virginia-Syracuse game last week, and 31 stood out to me in a big way. Very physical safeties, not just Virginia Tech in this game, but Georgia Tech as well.
Gibbs breaks through the first line of defense and up to the 40 and a first down. They'll mark him at the 39. Connor made the tackle and Gibbs blasting forward for 15 yards on the ground.
Nice job here. See the patience, and there's not much room at all for Gibbs right there, but it's patience, and then it's vision, and it's putting that foot in the ground and going. It goes in a big way there.
Sims sliding down at the 43-yard line. Dax Hollifield on the tackle for Virginia Tech, 4 yards. Hollifield, the junior from Shelby, North Carolina. And Coach Collins in his 3rd season, 5th overall as a head coach. They went 3-7 last year, 3-6 in conference play. Gibbs again, some rugged running for short yardage. A couple of yards for Gibbs. Take a look at those Ford keys to the games.
Okay, don't mind if I do. Trick or treat is the theme. Peanut butter cups. 2 great tastes in 1 candy bar. Reese's peanut butter cups, my favorite. But you got to have it both, right? You got to have defense and offense for Virginia Tech. For Georgia Tech, it's both sides. Big plays, the Whoppers. Don't give them up. They already did that, but you got to make them. Let's see if they make one here.
Sims with a sweet pass on the edge into Virginia Tech territory. Kalani Norris makes the catch, and the chains are moving for the Yellow Jackets.
Nice throw here by Sims, going Norris's way the entire time and putting it out there. You know where those sticks are, know where they're trying to break those routes off at. Dorian Strong there a little too late. And across midfield go the Jackets.
Sims had 27 completions a week ago for a career high. Just got that one away to Mason, and he gets popped around the 47-yard line. Only a yard. Connor putting the pressure on Sims.
That's all kinds of interesting for a 1-yard gain. Sims rolling the dice a little bit here. A little flick, and Mason is a tough back, great receiving back, and he's even better in pass protection when he's in there blitzing.
Sims, little screen action, flag is out. The hit is near midfield on Jordan Mason again. It's a hard-hitting game early on.
Personal foul, hands to the face, defense, number 45. 15-yard penalties added to the end of the play. First down.
Our referee is Marcus Woods, personal foul.
Watch the right side of your screen here. And there you see, it's at 45. And that's Garbutt grabbing the face mask as he tries to rush. And it's unfortunate for Fuente's troops. Rallied to the football there. Jordan Williams, Alan Tisdale had a nice big stop on the screen. They sniffed it out, knew exactly what was coming at them, but the penalty negates it.
Whistles and a stoppage in play before this one from the 35-yard line.
What do you think? Whoppers, peanut butter cup. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
I'm more of a bite-sized Snickers kind of guy.
But, okay,
is that all right?
Why go bite-size when you can go family share size, king size? I like Snickers.
Everything in moderation, James Bates.
Except for candy.
Except for candy. Great conversation with Coach Collins this week, continuing to work on the physical and mental capabilities of his team, keeping them sharp, elevating the level of play. You know, they did lose last week, James, on the road at Virginia, but they had 570 total yards,
automatic first down,
which was a season high and the most in the last 33 games for Georgia Tech. 570 yards of offense.
And he told us the difference between last year's team and this year's team is we'll rally. We don't give up. We'll rally back into these games. We had the Duke game. The Duke game they were down. Came back and won it in the last minute. Virginia. They were throwing dirt on the coffin of Virginia like a long time before they came rallying back. So it's a team that will continue to fight. Justin Hamilton's defense continued to fight throughout the game last week. It was a heartbreaking loss to Syracuse.
Gibbs up the middle on 1st and 10. Man, you can hear the pads popping down near the 25-yard line. As Georgia Tech is trying to respond after the long pass play by Burmeister and Virginia Tech to open the scoring here in our first quarter. Georgia Tech's won 3 of the last 4 and 4 of the last 6 between the teams. And that one incomplete. When they last met in 2019, James, though, it was all Virginia Tech, 45-0 in a trip down here to Bobby Dodd Stadium a couple seasons ago.
Yeah, and a nice job there with the pressure on Sims, and ball hits the turf, but it wouldn't have been much there had it been complete, because Tisdale again sniffing out that, trying to get a little screen into the back. That time it was J.P. Mason, and Dante Smith in for him there.
3rd and 4 for offensive coordinator Dave Patno. Let's see what he dials up here. They're going to toss it out to Smith, and he got shoved out of bounds. Amari Barno making the play on the edge, and it's 4th down.
Barno is a great athlete. He's long, comes under control, flatten out, use that sideline as your friend. It's just like vice angles when you got a teammate in the middle of the field. That sideline is an extra defender. Plays it really well right there, forcing a 4th and 4.
7 of 13 on the season on 4th down. Looking for the end zone. And a touchdown. The pass from Sims to McGowan. 26 yards. And the Jackets are in the end zone.
Wow, not only can he run it, not only is he fast, but he's accurate now as a thrower. Such a dangerous quarterback, and just drops that one in there. Great job by McGowan. Had Connor beat. Connor trying to make up, puts his head down and does all he can to get back in the mix, but it's a perfectly thrown football.
I mean, James, what kind of confidence does Dave Patno have in his quarterback Sims to throw that ball to the end zone on 4th down?
I think he has all the confidence in the world. Jeff Sims from Sandalwood High School back in Duval, Jacksonville. Let him hear you. Yeehaw.
Back to November 3rd, 1990, the national championship season from Bobby Ross and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets on the road at number 1 Virginia. Final seconds of the game, Scott Sisson from 37 yards away, right down Broadway. And Virginia wins at 41-38. Georgia Tech wins at 41-38 at Virginia on their way to that national championship season.
Coach Coleman down there. There he is, Marco Coleman, the defensive end, outside linebacker coach. Part of that national championship run in 1990. Have all of his buddies here with him being honored today. You know, and well, Hokie fans, that's like, we're double dipping on that highlight. Virginia Tech fans don't mind seeing the scoreboard. Virginia's on the losing end.
Although Virginia did defeat this Georgia Tech team in Charlottesville last week, Virginia Tech lost at home to Syracuse 41-36. They've actually lost 4 of their last 5 against the Orange. This one's all tied up thanks to the pass play. Sims to McGowan, 26 yards. And let's go down to the sidelines and Wiley Ballard.
Well, on the topic of that 1990 team, Tom, Marco Coleman, 2-time first-team All-American and national champion. What many may not know is when he was recruited to Georgia Tech, he arrived on campus and the Yellow Jackets had lost 14 consecutive ACC games. He engineered the turnaround in 1990, and he's trying to take the same approach to his time as a coach now here at Georgia Tech, trying to get Georgia Tech back to its winning ways, but nobody has greater experience in turning around a Georgia Tech program than Marco Coleman.
Georgia Tech turned the momentum of this game around with its last drive of 9 plays and 75 yards in 3.5 minutes. When Virginia Tech last had the football, it went 4 plays, 86 yards for a touchdown, 69 yards. Burmeister returner with Thomas on the run. Kenyatta Watson on the tackle. Jordan Dominic in the vicinity as well.
Nice carry there by Malachi Thomas, who came out of nowhere to run it up and down the field at Lane Stadium last weekend. He's not a guy who loses many yards. Over here, he's going to block.
Robinson to the 35-yard line, ran into Tariq Carpenter and got 6 yards.
Well, you talked about the pop, and see if we can hear this. You could feel it. I don't know about yours, but man. Again, Carpenter, as they go for it on 3rd down here, and we'll move those chains with Thomas, but Wanye Thomas, Tariq Carpenter for Georgia Tech, Nasir Peoples, big hitters at the safety spot in this football game here today. And you've mentioned it a couple times, Tom, a very physical start to this game.
Big hitter, the Llama. Here we go now, 1st down for Virginia Tech after getting that 3rd down conversion by Thomas. They'll give it to Blackshear. He's up to the 41 or so for Raheem Blackshear, the junior from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Lunga.
Quez Jackson on the stop.
You know, Blackshear and Peoples both at that Archbishop Wood High School. They played high school ball with Kyle Pitts, the now great tight end here for the Atlanta Falcons that played at the University of Florida the last few years.
From the 41. There's room up the middle for Blackshear. Stumbles forward close to the 48-yard line. That's a 1st down, and now flags come in late. There are flags late. Here's a look at the last play in the run by Blackshear.
Nice job by Blackshear to put that hand down and get a few more yards. Little extra fight. He was upset. You could see the body language last week. He thought he was going to stay in. They sent Malachi Thomas back in there, feeding that hot hand. Create a little bit of a fire. You know, it's good to have competition at all these positions, and not just in preseason training camp, 2-a-days, but throughout the season, week to week. Got to be hungry, get your hands on that ball, and make something happen. Offensive line has done a pretty good job here. It's a veteran offensive line, a lot of big, tough guys up front.
After the play, personal foul, offense number 76, defense number 27. The foul's offset, 1st down.
So Hoffman is the Virginia Tech player, and Robinson 27 in blue.
Left side of your screen.
Yeah, they're wrestling right there, James. And some afters, and then Hoffman takes a spill.
WWE stuff.
Yeah, that's offsetting personal fouls. Hoffman, the junior from Statesville, North Carolina. Fake on the handoff. Burmeister double clutch, complete, flags out. Turner down the sideline inside the 30. He got rocked by Tariq Carpenter. And here we go with more physical activity after the whistle. There is a flag back at about the 45-yard line of Georgia Tech.
I think it might be the corner that fell down was trying to grab and just holding on for dear life.
Now, James, if the play stands, it would be worth 25 yards for the Hokies, but let's see what Marcus Woods has to say.
Personal foul, hands to the face, defense. 15-yard penalties added to the end of the play, 1st down.
Maybe right there is where they're calling it. Again, they're going after Zamari Walton. Maybe saying he grabbed the face mask there unless it was somewhere else. Nevertheless, Hokies driving down inside the 15-yard line. And again, a couple big pass plays. Some confusion and some bodies falling down for Georgia Tech in the secondary, and Burmeister and his receivers taking advantage of it.
So Virginia Tech has just entered the CPI Security red zone. Malachi Thomas for Virginia Tech trying to move that pile. They are 81% of the season in the red zone for Virginia Tech. 14 touchdowns, but they're 13th in the conference in red zone offense. But they are in the CPI Security red zone. Here's your touchdown percentage, 14 TDs, 17 of 21. Thomas up the middle.
It I'm enjoying watching Brock Hoffman now. After every play, throws his hands up in the air. After, a little to the echo of the whistle, he'll play, and then he'll throw his hands up, make sure it wasn't his fault. But this is an offensive line that's revved up right now. They're angry.
So on third down, Malachi Thomas.
There's the big man, 310-pounder. Transfer from Coastal Carolina.
It's going to be fourth down, James, and Burmeister's still out there. 2 of 8 on fourth down for Coach Fuente's team this season. So they don't go for it a whole lot, but it looks like they are seriously considering fourth down.
Well, the way the offensive line has been pushing around that defense in front of Georgia Tech, just going right up the gut here.
4th and 1. Inside the 5. Burmeister still has it. Looking for a man to the end zone, and it is a touchdown. What a play call. They faked the run, and then they threw it to the end zone for 4 yards to Tavian Robinson.
Excellent play call and execution. Just like I was calling for a run right up the middle, remove those chains, get what seemed to be a sure first down the way they've been moving the ball and chipping away behind that big offensive line. Rolling the dice, thinking that's what Georgia Tech's thinking as well. Little play pass and the rollout and a nice touch. And another touchdown for the Hokies.
And the second TD on a fourth down play in the game. Georgia Tech has one, so does Virginia Tech now. As they fake the run, James, and Burmeister tosses it.
Sell it hard to Malachi Thomas. And it was a good job to cover that boot and somebody to be home for the quarterback, but nobody's there for the receiver. And Tavion Robinson, he's there for that catch, and it's 14-7. Yeah, you mentioned it on another fourth down, touchdown, using all 4 downs to put it in the paint, both teams.
That's the 9th touchdown pass of the season for Burmeister. So he's used Turner and now Robinson as his pass-catching receivers for TDs. 69 yards to Turner this quarter, and now Robinson a 4-yard pass play, and the 4th receiving TD for Robinson. A drive of 10 plays and 75 yards, just over 4 minutes for Virginia Tech. 14-7 lead for the Hokies on the road. This is Gibbs at the goal line. Just beyond the 15, maybe to the 17 or 18. And before we continue, now a message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
James, remember what Justin Fuente told us. He said, in the best possible way, we just need a couple more plays out of our quarterback, and that's what they've gotten so far in this game from Braxton Burmeister with a couple of TD passes. And a fantastic call on fourth down by Brad Cornelson, the offensive coordinator for Virginia Tech. Sims got rid of it. How about that maturation right there, James? Just that little step forward to avoid the contact from the D from Virginia Tech.
And then cool enough to just throw that rope on a timing route, no less, to Adonicus Sanders. Look at it. Cool and calm, avoids the rusher, and Sanders comes out of that break, and the ball is waiting on him.
12 yards on that play. Sims is now 5 of 6, 45 yards, and a TD pass. 26 yards to Kyrick McGowan. That was on a fourth down play. This is Gibbs. Bouncing off bodies across midfield and finally cut down by Tremaine Waller. Second effort, Jahmyr Gibbs at 23 yards.
Jahmyr Gibbs so many times when the defender who is supposed to make the tackle, the way the defense works, and here's the guy, he makes that guy miss. You've got to come under control, you got to flatten, and you've got to take the proper angles. And a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs messes all that up for you because of his speed and because of his burstiness. He can get himself out of trouble in a hurry.
Spinning is Smith. Not quite to the 45-yard line. Connor on the tackle. Just the yard, second and long. Sims with the poise that may have been deflected as he tried to find Dante Smith on a short yardage pass play.
Smith was going to have some room to run, and that was his check down after he reached through his progressions. Decent protection, but with him trying to kind of flip it real quick short arm and get the ball out to him, it was low and batted down by the pass rusher. So a third down and long now.
It's Dave Patno, the offensive coordinator. 1 for 3 on third down. Sims has to improvise. Throw on the run, not enough on it. Tough throw. Receiver tried to come back, but Sims could not get it to Sanders, and it's fourth down for the Yellow Jackets.
Got to be careful in these situations, middle of the field, punting unit on out there. Got to be alert to the fake. We've already seen both teams go for it on fourth downs and successfully ending up in touchdowns. And it looks like Virginia Tech will come out in a punt-safe look here to defend it.
Robinson is deep for Virginia Tech. Shanahan sends it on its way. So bounce near the 1-yard line and going to the end zone. Crossing the plane and touchback on a punt. All right, the standings in the ACC. The Atlantic Division, look at Wake Forest. Trying to go to 8-0 for the first time in school history, taking on Duke today. And the Coastal Pitt hosting Miami. What could be a critical game as far as those standings are concerned on the Coastal side, which is always crazy.
You know what that graphic looks like to me almost, maybe with the exception of Wake Forest right now, riding high undefeated, like a trick-or-treat bag. Just jumble, all kinds of craziness and fun colors and a lot of excitement in there. A lot of sugar.
Got some Smarties and Necco wafers in there, and candy corn.
And there's no telling what's happening.
Blackshear, 25-yard line. By the way, you saw BC and Syracuse on those standings. That'll be the second part of our doubleheader. Most of you will see the 55th all-time meeting between BC and Syracuse at the Dome, where the Eagles trying to win their third consecutive visit to Syracuse, New York. Flags are out.
John Brooks, I think, jumping early right there over that ball.
By the way, James, while we've been having fun,
Offside. Defense, number 0. Making contact. 5-yard penalty. Second down. Game clock error. Please place 1 second on the game clock.
Yeah, it was on Brooks. He has meant so much to this defense. A little bit too aggressive right there, Tom.
I was about to say it's the end of the quarter, but I was wrong. They put a second back.
Oh gosh. There's Andrew Thacker, his defensive coordinator. And that was about the same time as that first quarter clock was running out. And
maybe they won't put time back on.
Quarter number 2 coming up.
Everybody's leaving, James.
Yeah.
On the eve of Halloween, Virginia Tech has a 14-7 lead. A couple of clutch fourth down plays by each team. The second quarter, straight ahead.
Imagine being connected to and
I think that's a Hokie beekeeper down there.
With fly swatters. With fly swatters, no
That's pretty creative. Is that a Halloween costume, I guess? It's got the double fly swatter.
That would work in September. It'd still be fun.
Start of the second quarter. Virginia Tech has the football. Burmeister. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage. That 69-yard pass play by Braxton Burmeister, the longest of the season for him. That was a TD toss to Trey Turner in the first quarter. Here are the numbers, James, from the first 15 minutes.
And if you're wondering, they actually took back the penalty at the end of the first quarter because the clock had expired.
Appreciate the clarification, James. That's Robinson clearly on his way to a first down beyond the 30-yard line.
Well, Robinson bailing him out on a 4th down with the touchdown in the first quarter, and here on a big 3rd down in their own territory. Nice throw and catch from BB3 to Robinson, moving the chains.
From the 31-yard line, and up 14-7. Thomas near sideline and tripped up. That was Wesley Walker on the defensive play for Georgia Tech. 7 yards on that play. Hard to believe, James, for Virginia Tech. They've lost 3 in a row, 4 of their last 5. They haven't won since a home game against Richmond on September 25th, 21-10. But they do have the lead for Coach Fuente here in the second quarter. This is their first ACC road game of the season. And just their second ACC game after the loss to Syracuse. Turner tried the acrobatic catch over the middle. Couldn't haul it in with one hand at the 45-yard line.
It makes it so tough on those linebackers when you've got to respect that run. Yet at the same time, in your zone drop and a play-action pass, you got to be underneath that throw. Throw just a little bit high and hard. Couldn't come down with the one-hander. Here's a 3rd down and short now.
They want to throw it. Burmeister to the 45-yard line. Going up to grab it, Caleb Smith. In the congested area, making the catch for the first down for the sophomore from Bumpus, Virginia.
Smith, 6'2", 215-pounder, and uses all of that. Knows he's going to take the hit. Goes up in traffic and plucks it, pulls it down. Fresh set of downs for the Hokies.
Handoff Thomas. Bounces off the initial contact and gets thrown to the turf. Trey Swilling, first man on the scene. They're going to mark him at the 46-yard line.
What a difference a week makes. Last week, we had our 3 deep. We had our backs listed as Keyshawn King, Jalen Holston, Rasheem Blackshear, and here comes 24. So we're scrambling, who's this 24? Now this week preparing, we're like, where's Hart County, Georgia? You know, you think you kind of got it covered. Most of the time, it's kind of like Chicago when you've got a town from Illinois. It's all a suburb of Chicago. Same with Atlanta. But that's not the case with Hart County. It's way up northeast Georgia, up by Clemson, South Carolina, really almost. That's where Malachi Thomas is from, Hart County High School.
And to your point, James, prior to last week's game against Syracuse for Malachi Thomas, he had 11 carries for 48 yards for the season. Prior to his performance against the Orange, 21 carries, 151 yards, and 3 rushing TDs for Thomas last week.
Wiley talked about him off the top, how he wasn't heavily recruited. I actually, driving from Blacksburg, as we look at his numbers here today, from Blacksburg to Roanoke, after the game, listened to him on the Hokie radio network and really enjoyed his really fun interview. Even in the loss, seems like a guy with great energy and a great teammate.
This Virginia Tech team started the day, James, 13th in rushing offense, averaging 148 yards per game. But that seems to be a big part of the offensive scheme. The rushing concepts, and number 24 getting a lot of activity. Burmeister with a couple of TD passes as well.
They've been good on first down. It opens so many things up in that playbook for Cornelson in this offense when you have success on first down. You know, even 3 yards. But a lot of times you've seen Malachi and Blackshear carry the football for about 5, so you're setting up a second down and 5.
10th play of the drive. Ely on the stop. They'll celebrate after that tackle. You could hear that one upstairs.
Listen to this. Wham! You could hear that crack. He ripped the sticker off of Ely's helmet. What is it, the mattress company, a Sealy? Sealy mattress? It's going to be an Ely because he's putting guys to sleep out there. 3rd down and 6 he forces with that big lick in the backfield. Let's see what Andrew Thacker, see if he brings bodies. 3 guys with their foot, hand on the ground.
Going to the mattresses on 3rd down. Number 3, scrambles and throws complete. Blackshear made the catch and fights for the first down. There is a flag out. That was Blackshear on the catch. Ely was trying to bring him down. And there was also a flag on the play, so we're going to have to wait for the word from Marcus Woods, our referee.
Yeah, they're going to call a hold on Clements with Luke Tenuta still out. Clements starting today.
Holding. Offense, number 7. Senior penalty from the final foul. Third down.
You know, it's tough for these big guys. Watch 70. It's going to be on the right side of the screen. You know, to try to block in space. We talk about tackling in space all the time. Yeah, I don't know though. There, that's a tough one.
James, prior to today, Virginia Tech had just 24 total penalties, fewest in the football bowl subdivision. They had just 1 penalty for 5 yards in the game last week against Syracuse.
Yeah, that one counts, but I don't know that it should. There we go. We get another chance at it, though. Now 3rd and 14.
Blackshear. 45-yard line. Charlie Thomas, number 25, the junior from Thomasville, Georgia. 4th down, Virginia Tech. Peter Moore to punt. McGowan, the deep man, at his 10-yard line. Whistles stop the play.
Well, Georgia Tech trying to get bodies off substitution, and they actually burn a timeout because they had too many guys on the field.
Georgia Tech called their first timeout. 30 seconds timeout.
So that's the first one utilized by Georgia Tech at the 9:19 mark of this second quarter, and trailing 14-7 to Virginia Tech. This is just the start of our day. Coming up next on most of these ACC stations, it's a good old-fashioned Eastern football rivalry as Boston College and Syracuse collide at the Dome. 3:30 Eastern. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. 55th all-time meeting between BC and Syracuse. When you talk old-school Eastern football, you talk Syracuse and BC. And most of you will see that game coming up next.
We saw Shanahan, the punter for Georgia Tech, punt one from the same distance in the first quarter into the end zone. We'll see if Peter Moore can drop it inside the 10.
McGowan wants the fair catch. Makes it successfully near the 7-yard line. Georgia Tech and Jeff Sims will have the football when we come back to Bobby Dodd Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. This is ACC football with the Hokies up by 7 on the Jackets.
When you need tires, make it Mavis Tires and Brakes. We're America's favorite tire store because we carry every major brand at the guaranteed lowest price. With our enormous
14-7, Hokies lead. 9:07 to go in the second quarter. Let's take a look at the action in that first quarter. Burmeister going to the air 69 yards after the pump fake.
Yeah, a little pump fake on that screen. Everybody bit. Trey Turner works his way into the end zone 69 yards later. But answering shortly thereafter, McGowan from Sims on a 4th down and 4. Also on a 4th down. Back down at the other end, Braxton Burmeister. It was 4th and 1, a 4-yard touchdown pass to Robinson. And 14-7. Bananas and hot dogs and Elmer Fudd hats. Oh, man, all you can handle. This is just Saturday of Halloween weekend.
Put some Junior Mints and an O. Henry candy bar in that trick-or-treat bag. Here we go with Georgia Tech. 1st and 10. Sims cradling that football and easing his way out of bounds like a cool breeze for 17 yards.
You know, you get so excited as a defense when you've got an offense with their backs on their own goal line, and then just a punch in the gut when they one play gets them all kinds of padding and take it about halfway up towards midfield.
Gibbs. We showed you that TD pass by Sims of 26 yards on the 4th down play to McGowan. That took him over 3,000 yards passing in his Georgia Tech career. He's the 12th quarterback to do so in Georgia Tech history. 45 yards passing so far for Sims today. after throwing it 44 times a week ago at Virginia for 300 yards and 3 TD passes. There he goes again, up to the 31-yard line. Jeff Sims this season missed most of the first 3 games of the season, James, after the injury against Northern Illinois, a game that Georgia Tech lost by a point.
Yeah, returned in the first half against North Carolina. What a big win that was for this Yellow Jacket team.
Well, that was September 25th against then number 21 North Carolina here in Atlanta, 45-22. Gibbs.
Great job by Tay Daly. This is a tough task to come up against any player in the ACC in open field. But when it's Jahmyr Gibbs, watch 17. This is the way it's set up. And 9 times out of 10, you'll see Gibbs make the defender miss. Daly, an excellent job just to grab onto those shoes and to keep him shy of that first down marker. Good stop by Justin Hamilton's defense there.
Shanahan, the low line drive on a rugby style, bounding inside the 25-yard line, and Robinson will not have a chance at a return. There is a timeout on the field with 6:45 to go in the half. Virginia Tech has the 14-7 lead here at Bobby Dodd Stadium. 6:45 to go in the second quarter. Hokies with a 14-7 lead on the road. Time for Fresh Market. Discover the best. It's Burmeister and Sims side by side so far, Bates.
Yeah, and a decent start for both of these quarterbacks running the show. The 2 touchdowns for Burmeister leading the way in that category right now. So important down at the bottom. Both of them taking care of that football. For the most part, these 2 teams, they play clean football. Not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of penalties, especially, even though we've had a couple here early in this one. Here are the numbers for the 2 gunslingers here today, 14-7. Beautiful day it turned out to be, too.
Temps in the mid-50s as we started the day, light breezes. A little bit of a chill in the air here in Atlanta. The city World Series crazy for its Braves. Today, the focus, at least for the early part of the day, on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Turner. All the way down the line and outside the numbers for Turner for 4 yards. Both of the quarterbacks in our game, James, have thrown a touchdown on a crafty 4th down play for both of them.
Right, Turner had a touchdown for Virginia Tech. It wasn't on a 4th down, but it was the biggest play of the game, 69-yarder. And he'll get about 4 or 5 on that first down carry on the jet sweep.
Virginia Tech had it 4th and 1 deep in Georgia Tech territory and opted for a little play fake and a toss to the end zone. And Tavian Robinson ran under the pass from Burmeister. A 4-yard TD pass. And here we are, 14-7. Thomas knifing his way up the middle, 33-yard line. Quez Jackson on the stop, 5 yards on the play.
Forcing a 3rd down and short. Quez Jackson, active linebacker, the junior from Fort Valley, Georgia. Former teammate of mine, Jaquez Green. I sent him a message, hey, this Quez, you got to know him, or the family said, oh yeah, grew up with his mom, and Greg Lloyd, great linebacker, is his cousin.
He's the leading tackler in the ACC. There's pass to Turner, he's open again. Turner down the sideline, busting tackles, fighting his way, close to the 6-yard line. Wanye Thomas and Tobias Oliver trying to bring him down, and there's an injured Georgia Tech player, and it's Tariq Carpenter. Burmeister the pass again to an open Trey Turner.
And selling out hard, trying to stop it on these short yardage conversion situations, but guys got to stay disciplined. You can't sell out and everybody go after that football after that play fake. Earlier we saw the big play on a fake screen pass. As Carpenter's down, they'll take a look at him, but guys out of position and playing, just got to play disciplined football. It's hurting them.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. so we built the truck of the
After the 61-yard pass play to Turner, it is 1st and goal, front day in Virginia Tech. How about Turner up to 156 yards receiving on 3 catches? Career high in yardage in a game for Turner.
He didn't make a lot of noise last week against Syracuse, but he certainly is in the first half today.
Burmeister rolls, throws to the back of the end zone. Dulius was the closest receiver, number 89.
Georgia Tech defensively was ready for that on many levels. Great coverage. After that play fake, they had a body on the quarterback as well. Going down into that student section. Yellow Jacket students trying to make some noise here.
Burmeister 7 of his last 9 passing. Wants to toss it again. Looking to the end zone. Off the hands of the receiver Robinson. He and Trey Swilling mixing it up in that end zone. Did get a hand on it.
Right. Letting them play a little bit here. And I don't mind it one bit. Both guys grabbing each other, trying to jockey for position. It's kind of a 50-50 who wants it more ball. And Robinson almost able to pull it down. But instead, here's a 3rd down and goal now.
4 of 5 on 3rd down in the game for Virginia Tech. Burmeister, 3rd straight pass play. Unloads, back of the end zone. Incomplete. That was Trey Turner back there. Official right on top of it, incomplete.
It was plenty close, that's for sure. Turner, outstanding play just to go up and catch this one. That right foot coming down first, so the left one doesn't even matter. The ball was secure, but the feet couldn't complete it. Look at that. I mean, that's getting up near the crossbar on that goalpost.
In real time, it looked like that right foot was a lot closer to being in bounds. The official is right there on top of it, and clearly he comes down with the right foot out of bounds, back of the end zone.
And you know, a lot of times too, it helps to just watch the reaction of the player. Turner doesn't even fight it. He knew. He threw the ball over to the official, and let's go play the next down.
They did take a look at it, James. An official review. There's no evidence to overturn the call, at least in my estimation. This should be relatively quick on the deliberation from Marcus Woods, in charge of the proceedings this afternoon in Atlanta.
After further review, the rule on the field is confirmed. 4th down.
Ruling confirmed, 4th down. 23-yard field goal attempt coming up for Virginia Tech and John Parker Romo. He is 6 of 8 on the season. He's made 5 field goals in a row. 2 for 2 against Syracuse last week, 48 and 33 yards. This from 23 yards away. John Parker Romo. 23-yarder late in the second. 17-7 Virginia Tech. So the Hokies increase their lead. Big pass play from Burmeister to Turner sets up the field goal. 23 yards away. John Parker Romo.
We in here.
Dot Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. Virginia Tech a 17-7 lead late in the first half over Georgia Tech. It's a very special weekend here on the Flats. The 1990 National Championship team is being honored, and we're joined by a member of the coaching staff from that team, former Georgia Tech head coach, but the defensive coordinator in that special year in 1990, George O'Leary. Coach, tell me about that 1990 season. What memories have you revisited this weekend?
That was a team that had playmakers on offense at every position, defensively, and special teams is special. But a group of guys very passionate about the game, and they played every game to win, and extremely close group of guys, brotherhood-wise, and, I can't say enough about what they did that year and what they did for Georgia Tech.
Tell me about that Virginia win, #1 team in the country, 41-38. Your defense had a tough assignment. They were the #1 offense in the nation.
Well, they showed it too the first half, but we came out the second half, and we came back on offense, made some stops on defense, and thank God for Scott Sisson making those field goals. So great win, especially on the not game. It was a great game, and someone had to win, and we were fortunate to win the game.
You've seen so many former players here this weekend. One of them is coaching on the sidelines, Marco Coleman, your former stud outside linebacker. What is it like seeing him as a coach?
He looks like the best defensive lineman. He was a great player, and a great pro and stuff. And I'm so happy for him and what they're doing here. And it takes time to build things, and they're doing it the right way, but it takes time. And today's a big game for both teams, and I think it's going to come down to the wire in the fourth quarter.
And quickly, Coach, you were inducted into the Georgia Tech Hall of Fame. You gave your speech earlier this week. What did that mean to you?
Well, I think anytime you make Hall of Fame, a lot of people are responsible for that. And, whether the support staff, the coaching staff, and the players. And I always acknowledge them. And I don't think anybody makes the Hall of Fame without a lot of other people involved.
Coach O'Leary, thanks for your time. Happy to have you back here at Georgia Tech. And back up to the booth.
Thank you very much.
Wiley, thank you. Pass play from Sims as he hit Sanders with the pass play. Coach O'Leary returned as the head coach from 1995 to 01 here at Georgia Tech. And that 1990 championship team, we talked about the Scott Sisson field goal from 37 yards away with 7 seconds left on the road at #1 Virginia. 41-38 as the national champs went 11-0-1 that season and won the Citrus Bowl against Nebraska 45-21. Skies are starting to brighten a little bit here at Bobby Dodd Stadium.
Well, defensively, not giving an inch right there. Jeff Collins' team now facing a 3rd down and short after they stoned Jahmyr Gibbs on that carry.
Just 1 for 5 on 3rd down of the game. Georgia Tech's scoring drive, James, was 9 plays, 75 yards. Prior to the start of this drive, their other 3 drives, just 14 plays and 82 yards, and they're faced with a 3rd down. 3rd and short for Mason. That's going to be enough just past the 35-yard line. Chains are moving.
Just enough. Good job by that offensive line to at least stand up that defensive front and then leave it up to J.P. Mason. As good as Dante Smith and Jahmyr Gibbs are, I like my odds if you need 1 yard to go with the ball in the hands of number 27 in that situation. He gets just enough to move him.
Sims rolling that pocket. The right-hander unloads it to the 40, and that ball hits the turf. Looking for Malachi Carter.
Like a couple people got a hand on it. Was it tipped even before it was swatted? I don't think so, but good reaction there by Dorian Strong. Make sure it was batted away. So a 2nd down and 10.
Sims passing, James. He started 4 for 4, just 2 of his last 6. And now 54 yards and the TD pass and 26 yards to McGowan in the first quarter on a 4th down play. Sims with the patience. Hits his man Gibbs up near the 40-yard line. There's the example of Gibbs, not only in the running game, but the throw game as well, as Barno made the stop.
Yeah, Barno's down 2 after this one. He's so long and he's so bursty. To be that long-limbed and to be able to cover that much ground in a hurry, it's tough to be patient, but able to get that football out of there as Barno hits him. But it's Barno that's down on the ground after that gain of about 6 yards. And Virginia Tech hoping that number 11, who wore that 25 last week, is okay. So he makes his way off the field. He's a big-time playmaker.
6'6" junior, 245 pounds from Blythewood, South Carolina. Mare Barno.
Justin Fuente last week told us that he was from another planet athletically. And he's still getting better every single week. Hokies just hoping that he's okay to get back out there and keep getting better. He's been very active in this game here so far today. The numbers for his counterpart over on offense, Trey Turner. Number 11's been big on both sides of the ball here.
Turner came in as the leading receiver on the season for Virginia Tech. Still 13th in the conference in pass yardage. Not today, though. Burmeister has found many targets. We'll see if Sims can find one. He waits, floats it complete. Sanders. Flag is out. Sanders gets by a man at the 40. Sanders makes a move at the 20. Down inside the 10. There is a flag on the play way back at the 44-yard line. Tate Daly made the tackle of a determined Sanders. There is a penalty marker.
Pass interference, offense, number 2, 15-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So that negates a 53-yard pass play. Crushing, James.
See if we can see it here. It's Sanders down at the bottom of your screen, and it's just a pick is what it is. So it's a good call. There's a reason why he was so wide open, and that's because, you know, you get in the way of the defender, but don't put your head down and go try to block him. It's easy for the officials to see, and so now instead of going down there knocking on the door, looking to chip into this lead of 17-7, you're backing it way up towards your own goal line. And it's near the 25-yard line.
Jeff Collins talking about all those little plays that add up to victory or defeat. And that one brings the ball all the way back to the 26-yard line. After the penalty on Adonicus Sanders, who was running the route, McGowan made the contact and the penalty flag. Sims directing some traffic. Now he'll tuck and run. Veer out of bounds past the 35-yard line for Jeff Sims. Peoples forced him out. 11 yards on the play, James.
Sorry, Tom. He was trying to communicate with Kalani Norris, get him to head downfield. That was that wave of the hand, but Norris fell down, so he had no choice but to tuck it and go. And still able to get a few yards, but well shy of that first down marker. So Virginia Tech, chance here with under 2 minutes to play to add on to a 17-7 lead.
Virginia Tech with a 3-1 record this season with the halftime lead. They're 3-4 overall on the year. Shanahan, Robinson, the bouncer, stays away right at the 10. 52-yard punt from Shanahan.
That'll help to flip it.
Halftime is straight ahead. We'll have the highlights and stats driven with Jeff Collins, the third-year head coach of the Yellow Jackets. That'll be entertaining, and we'll go around the ACC. One score of note: Miami has a lead in the second quarter against Pitt, which right now is at the top of the conference in the Coastal Division. Miami leads 24-17 on the road at Heinz Field. Interesting game. We have Miami next week against these Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets in Coral Gables. That's the next stop on our magical mystery tour of the ACC.
Tune in, because we've had nothing but close games, with the exception of the Virginia Duke game, 48-0. We've had some outstanding, exciting football games. And it looks like we got another one right here as we near halftime.
We did visit Miami this season, James.
Oh.
Your national championship team was being recognized at Florida.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. I was.
Yeah, Miami beat Central Connecticut State.
Yeah, you guys had fun with that one.
The other Blue Devils. And now a minute to play in the second quarter. Cutting it up the middle, Blackshear, and tearing through the Georgia Tech defense and past the 35-yard line. Raheem Blackshear for 24 yards for the Hokies.
And quickly over that football now is a near 50 seconds. All 3 timeouts remaining for the Hokies, and look for them to heat it up here with the tempo. They can get this ball snapped.
267 yards of total offense for Virginia Tech. Burmeister in a clean pocket. He escapes. Out of bounds near the 40-yard line for Burmeister. Ely impeding his progress after a 4-yard gain. Burmeister had all day. Credit to Georgia Tech secondary on that one, James.
Yeah. And good job by the offensive line to keep him clean. John Parker Romo, by the way, we just saw him hit that 23-yard field goal. They say he's got a range of about 50 to 55 yards if that comes into play. But Burmeister and company hoping they can find a way to get 7 before halftime.
Parker Romo made a 52-yarder against Notre Dame earlier this season. This is Turner again. Running precise pass routes. Swilling made the tackle. Turner with the grab at 12 yards. That's his 4th catch of the game. He's got a catch for a touchdown for 69 yards. A catch that led to the field goal of 61 yards. And he's got his career high in receiving yardage for Turner, up near 168 yards now for Turner in the TD. So the first time out for Virginia Tech.
Well, and maybe one of the more athletic plays of the day. He went up and got that ball down in the back of the end zone, but unfortunately for the Hokies, came down with his foot out of bounds. Look at those numbers. First half numbers for number 11.
He's up to 31 catches on the season. The TD grab in the first quarter of 69 yards was his 2nd touchdown reception of the year. Burmeister has a couple of TDs. He's up to 9 through the air. Burmeister again. He takes off. Quick cat-like reactions. Puts the head down and rolls near the 37. That's a first down. And an immediate timeout for Virginia Tech. Wanye Thomas on the stop.
Yeah, and that's the luxury of not burning a couple timeouts. The substitution-type penalties throughout the first half. You got all 3 on a 2-minute drive. 1 minute in this case. You can afford. Everybody's covered. Let number 3 do what he does best. Tuck it and go. Get me a first down. He does that. And a couple more. So with 17 seconds and 1 timeout remaining, the Hokies drive it.
I mean, based on the way the game has gone, James, maybe a long shot to Turner here with 17 seconds left. And the field goal, if it was an incomplete pass at this point, would be 54 yards away. As we mentioned, he's hit a 52-yarder so far this season.
Yeah, within his range.
And the breeze is going that way also. It's a light breeze, but it is going from right to left.
I'd go about middle distance right here, not all the way. You don't have to go for the end zone right here, especially with that timeout left. Possibly get a couple more pass plays in, see if you can put it into the end zone.
Over 300 yards of total offense in the first half for Virginia Tech. Burmeister, throw on the run, middle distance, Robinson out of bounds. Coach Bates, nice call with 11 seconds to go.
Quickly out of bounds, nice play, don't even have to use that timeout. And again, here's another situation. If Burmeister goes back to pass on this play, he can tuck it and go, call a timeout. If nobody's open for him, and then you've got a nice little field goal try. But you got plenty of time here with 11 seconds.
First down from the 26. Burmeister down by the goal line. Incomplete. There is a flag. Caleb Smith was the receiver. Miles Sims, the defender. Penalty marker. And 6 seconds on the game clock in the second quarter.
Sims is he's in position. You've got to trust those reps that you get in practice. Those eyes get big on the receiver. For a reason, snap that head around. And it's an interception. He's right there in his hip pocket.
There's no foul for defensive pass interference on the play. Second down.
They threw the flag because he didn't turn his head around and play that football. Lucky they picked the flag up. But Jeff Collins, I mean, that's a defensive guy, and that's one thing that you rep with these defensive backs all the time. Right there in position, right on that hip, The receiver's eyes get big, those hands go up, snap that head around, but you don't want to ever lose feel. You want to make sure you're in contact so they get a little bit of separation, and we've seen what can happen when these quarterbacks drop the ball in, but that wasn't the case right there.
Georgia Tech has taken a timeout with 6 seconds on the game clock, and the ball resting at the 26-yard line. 329 yards of total offense in the first half for Justin Fuente and the Virginia Tech Hokies. They are 13th in the conference. Guess what they average per game, James? 329 yards per game. They've already accumulated that yardage here in the first half.
Well, and you could see it last weekend. Last weekend, the defense didn't totally hold up their end of the deal. Justin Fuente is hot. It's, you know, and what he's upset about is if you're going to throw that flag, you're throwing that flag for a reason. It's not like you can go up to the booth and look at it and say, you know, not so much. I mean, you're throwing it because you feel like it was interference. The guy didn't turn his head around. He was hot this time. Last week, remember, it was a substitution that he was, or the lack thereof. Felt like his team didn't get enough time to substitute. So now not only do you not get the flag, you not get the yardage, but you also lose the time on the clock. So you've got to kick it now.
So this is going to be a 43-yarder. Parker Romo perfect this season from beyond 40 yards. 3 for 3. You can make it 4 for 4. 43-yard field goal with 1 second on the clock. John Parker Romo. And now it's 20-7 Virginia Tech.
Son, you got a panty on your head.
And a field goal on the board for Virginia Tech. Big points for the Hokies, up 20-7. So he's connected from 23 yards and 43 yards. And Burmeister has a couple of pass TDs of 69 yards and 4 yards. And the 4-yarder was to Tavian Robinson on a 4th down play in the first quarter.
Brock Hoffman showing his softer side. We've seen him rough up a bunch of Georgia Tech guys. That time he went dirty dancing on them. And lifting John Parker Romo. Hokies got to be excited. Hokie fans have to be pleased with the way this team has continued to fight. Even with losing 4 of their last 5 games. And a heartbreaker, you know, to Notre Dame. An ugly loss to Pitt, a heartbreaker again to Syracuse at home last week, but just the way they came, just wanting to fight and scrap in this game in this first half.
So roller up the middle. Gibbs fielding the ground ball on the last play of the first half. So the Hokies, who are 3-1 with the halftime lead so far this season, will take it to the locker room. 20-7. A couple of TD passes from Burmeister. He's up to 9 for the year. Hokies with 43 plays in that first half. And well above 300 total yards of offense against the Yellow Jackets on homecoming here on the Georgia Tech campus.
There's no S on this one, right?
No, singular homecoming. 72nd all-time homecoming as we go down to Wiley.
Thanks, Tom. Joined by Virginia Tech coach Justin Fuente. Coach, you haven't had many opportunities to play on the road, but it seems like you guys traveled well in the first half.
Well, so far, you know, like we've got to find a way to finish. I mean, I know it's going to be a long day. Like we've got a lot of work left to do, but I like the way our guys have approached it so far.
Tell me about your defense. Just 1 touchdown allowed in the first half. I know they focused on attention to detail this week in practice. Have you seen that here in the first 2 quarters?
Yeah, thus far. And we're playing an explosive team, but we've done a pretty decent job so far. We've got to go put the second half together.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet. Thank you.
Tom, back up to you.
Credit to Coach Fuente and defensive coordinator Justin Hamilton as well. And it adds up to a 20-7 lead for Virginia Tech. It's halftime in Atlanta. We're coming right back to Bobby Dodd Stadium in just a moment.
No matter what.
In a boundless future, we are a campus reunited in traditions we hold dear. We value the innovation and creativity gained from diverse minds and voices. We are driven to serve. We are the Hokie Nation. We are Virginia Tech.
your local Toyota dealers. The Hokies on the road for just the second time all season and the first time in the ACC have a 20-7 lead against the Yellow Jackets on homecoming. The homecoming Royal Court announced to the crowd here at halftime. They need to come back from the Yellow Jackets. Tom and James for our broadcast position here at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Virginia Tech has been impressive in the first half. 329 total yards. That's their average, James, for a full game, and that's 13th in the conference. They've already put up those numbers in the first half.
Well, and on the flip side, and Justin Fuente, you could tell he knows that he's got a big second half to come out with his guys and defend. Even though they played really well in that first half, on that flip side, they've held Georgia Tech, Jeff Sims and company, under to what they usually do. And he knows they've got the explosive plays. Remember the Whopper keys to the game? Those Whoppers, those big plays are there. They've just got to keep shutting them down.
Yeah, Braxton Burmeister with a couple of TD passes in that first half, and both teams clutch on fourth down as we look at the action from the first half.
You know, they really needed Braxton Burmeister to step up, and he really has the last couple weeks. Even in the loss last week to Syracuse, Trey Turner, 69-yard touchdown pass and run to get the scoring started. It was 7-0 early in this first quarter, but then Jeff Sims, a beautiful pass to McGowan in the corner of the end zone on 4th down and 4, and then on a 4th down and 1 back the other end. It's a 4-yard touchdown pass to Robinson from Braxton Burmeister. Touchdown scoring is done, but not the field goal kicking from John Parker Romo. Here's another big completion to Trey Turner on a 3rd down to get him down close, and John Parker Romo from 23 yards out.
He made a couple of field goals in the first half. A second one from beyond 40 yards away. He's now 4 for 4 from beyond 40 yards away, and here we are 20-7. Trey Turner, 168 yards receiving in that first half, James, as we look at the total numbers.
Yeah, and look at the 3rd downs, 2 of 7, Georgia Tech. They've got to do a better job of staying out there on the field. And look at 42 total plays for Virginia Tech. Georgia Tech, however, will receive the opening kickoff in the second half.
Virginia Tech has a 20-7 lead. And you are watching our halftime report presented by Toyota.
Want to take your combo?
Collins, presented by your local Toyota dealers.
I'm born and raised in Atlanta, and I just love it. Love everything about Atlanta, everything that you can do, and then you combine it with one of the top academic schools in the country. And in this day and age of name, image, and likeness and brand, there's no place better to be than in downtown Atlanta, right in the 404. And then we've got some unbelievable players in our program. Obviously, they're great athletes, but they're even better people. And they work hard, and they believe in what we're doing. They love each other, and they know we love them in turn. It's about to be really, really good.
Touchdown, Georgia Tech! Do you recruit a guy, say, coming from Maryland, a transfer differently than a younger kid? Are there different things about the program and about Atlanta that appeal to them?
Right. Well, the biggest thing is we've tried to frame Georgia Tech, frame being in the city of Atlanta as a destination spot. So whenever guys start to look elsewhere, Georgia Tech hopefully is the first place that comes to mind. Living in the city, that is the home of most NFL players in the offseason. Well, you get to live it and breathe it all the time if you go to school with us. And I think it's just a really good fit. We're not shy about our presence on social media. We're not shy about what we profess to be our culture. And then when guys come in, it's even better than the really good look that we put on social media. So it's really cool.
Driven, Jeff Collins, is presented by your local Toyota dealers. The new 2021 Toyota 4Runner. Visit Toyota.com for more information.
When you think of an airline, you think of the big things. And for the last year, we've all...
The Toyota halftime report. On the eve of Halloween, the costumes are out. We're not clowning around today in the ACC. Virginia Tech trying to stop a 3-game losing streak and win its first ACC road game of the season. Action around the ACC. Look at Miami, James, on the road at number 17, Pitt. Tyler Van Dyke, couple of TD passes and 267 yards in the first half. Kenny Pickett has 307 yards and a TD pass. Also, Florida State and Clemson, Boston College and Syracuse. A lot of you across our ACC networks will see that second game of our doubleheader. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Wake Forest, number 13 in the country, highest ranked ACC team, trying to go to 8-0 for the first time in school history. And North Carolina 0-12 on the road at Notre Dame tonight against the Irish. Notre Dame, number 11 in the country. Louisville and NC State. Miami with the 1-point win against NC State last week, trying to back it up with a win against Pitt. And Bronco Mendenhall back to BYU, last game of the night in the ACC. This, the Toyota Halftime Report.
Imagine being connected to. And
this week you guys struggle but bounce back in the second half. Yep. How important is that today?
Yeah, no doubt. And we start with the ball. We got to make the most of it right now. Get a good drive going, get some points on the board. The defense has started to play better, get some good stops. We got to do that in the second half, and we got to score points.
Tell me about the offense. What's the key for them in the second half?
Yeah, win the one-on-ones. They're loading the box. They're putting us in zero coverage all the way across the board. We have to win up front, and the playmakers got to make plays because they can.
Thanks for your time, Coach. Tom, back up to you.
Wiley, thank you. Georgia Tech is 3-4 on the season. They led at halftime in all 3 wins. They trailed at halftime in all 4 losses. They will receive the second half kickoff. Bates, what are those adjustments you're looking for here in the second half?
Well, just like Coach Collins said, take advantage of some of those matchups, and he's got the playmakers. And Collins has said the last few weeks, you know, we're so close. We're so close in so many areas. If you are to take that next step as a program, this is a game you need to win. This is a team in Virginia Tech that is struggling. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Yeah, they've got some playmakers too. Yeah, they've got guys on scholarship too. But they're on the road here at your place. And to take that next step, this next half is big for Georgia Tech football here this season. You mentioned it at halftime. Miami looking pretty good right now against Pitt. So they're going to be the gossip in the ACC. If they hold on and win that one, and Georgia Tech can find a way to come back like they did late in that second half against Virginia, although coming up short, they need to have better results on those drives, especially offensively. Last 3 possessions were the punt after that touchdown. But fortunately for Yellow Jacket fans, they'll get a chance to strike first.
The touchdown was a 26-yard pass play, Sims to McGowan on a 4th down play in the first quarter. Zende Ray, number 3 for Georgia Tech, is deep at his goal line. Gibbs is back there for the Jackets as well. Second half kickoff. Gibbs sizes it up from the 3. Gibbs shedding would-be tacklers and out past the 25. Maybe the 28 or so for Gibbs. Keontae Jenkins on the tackle. Special teams from Virginia Tech.
Well, special teams in Virginia Tech go hand in hand. They have for a long time. Back to the days of Beamer Ball, and they've done a good job of bottling up not only an electric running back, but an electric return man as well in Jahmyr Gibbs.
29 plays and 170 total yards in the first half. A minimal game for Gibbs. In fact, he's going to lose one. 8 carries for 55 yards in the first half for Gibbs. This is Sims creating up near midfield for Sims. He's up to the 48 or 9. 21 yards, James.
So important, Tom. Both of these quarterbacks, you've got to stay in your rush lanes. You saw Amari Barno go flying in there, but it doesn't mean anything if you're up close, but you're up past the quarterback. Let those tackles do a good job of just letting guys just run on past, and it creates a lot of space for a guy like Sims to do some serious damage, moving those chains any way they can.
He ran for 54 yards in the first half. Gibbs on a hesitation, nowhere to go. Submarines his way up past the 45-yard line. 9 Queen Hawkins on the stop. 13 in white, orange, and maroon For the Hokies playing just their second road game of the season. They lost September 18th at West Virginia, 27-21. Stopped on a 4th and goal late in the 4th quarter on the 3-yard line. Underneath the complete midfield. An injured Georgia Tech player on that play. Dylan Leonard made the catch, but clutching the right shoulder and still down. So while they assess his situation, we'll step aside for just a moment. Georgia Tech has the ball. Virginia Tech has the lead.
Made from scratch biscuits and hand-breaded chicken.
Dallin Tisdale wrapped him up. As the sophomore from Greensboro, North Carolina, number 34 in white, seeking out Sims and taking him down.
Nice job by Tisdale to use those hands. Its hat and then its hands separate. Get off the mark and go make the tackle.
Georgia Tech inside the CPI security red zone. Opening possession, second half. Sims buys a little time. Flag comes out, threw it back across his body to the 15. And that to Jack Coco. That tight end's all right, but let's check that flag.
Dangerous throw. Sims throwing it into traffic.
Holding, offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty, second down.
You know, it was a late flag, and I was just about to say, if you're gonna throw a flag for holding, here's where you throw it right here. They call it on Ryan Johnson, working. He's got his hands full with Amare Barno. And that's where it's going to come from. Look at the right side of your screen. Barno beats him inside big time, and he has no choice but to tackle him down.
4 penalties against Georgia Tech in the game. Moves the ball back near the 30. Sims throws it. Here's Gibbs, 25-yard line. Peoples forces him out.
So Tech fans going from what looked like a touchdown to now a 3rd down and 15 after that holding call on Haas, Ryan Johnson.
3 for 8 on 3rd down of the game for Georgia Tech. 0 for 1 inside the red zone. They'll have to get to the 9-yard line for a 1st down. It's a short pass near the 20 and caught by Jack Coco. Just 5 yards on the play.
2 completions there on that drive by Coco de Rock, but not enough to meet those chains, so they'll try to make it a 10-point game here.
Here's Samaglia, the senior from Nashville, Tennessee. 9 of 12 on the season. 3rd in the conference in make percentage, 37-yard attempt. Brent Samaglia from 37 yards away. Samaglia makes it. So Georgia Tech harvesting some points from its first possession of the second half. It's a 10-point game on the flats.
Goodbye and the spam calls. Hello to a phone plan with built-in spam block.
See, college football is brought to you by CPI Security. CPI home security that protects what matters most. And by the Works Nitro. The Works Nitro available at worksnitro.com.
And welcome back to Bobby Dodd Stadium. Virginia Tech ahead 20-10. We're joined by a very special member of the 1990 team, William Bell, starting running back. And William, what's it been like to come back and see all your old teammates?
Oh man, it's great. It's great to actually get a chance to see everyone that you haven't seen in a while. Get a chance to walk out on the field with the guys, that you were in the huddle with, and things like that. So
there were a lot of great moments in that 1990 season. What was your favorite memory?
My favorite memory, I don't know. There were so many. We beat Georgia that year between the hedges, but probably the University of Virginia game, where we had to come back and win.
And now tell me about when it comes to coming back after 30 years and a chance to come out of the tunnel. How special is Georgia Tech to you after all these years?
It's it's kind of something that you take for granted. Again, you did it so much, you know, it was kind of part of what you did, but to actually come out and, again, with the guys that you were in the huddle with, the guys that you practice with, to see everyone here healthy, and then the fans yelling for you and screaming, that was pretty good. That's pretty good.
Pretty special day here in Atlanta. Back up the time.
Wiley, thank you. Incredible moments from that 1990 season. And after this first down play by Virginia Tech, that 1990 season, James, also included a win for Georgia Tech at home against Virginia Tech 6-3. It's the only meeting between the programs not as ACC opponents. And, of course, Georgia Tech went on to win the national title.
Wow. Had to come from behind, as we saw earlier, the highlight and mentioned there by Mr. Bell against the Cavaliers. Look at this.
Zomari Walton coming in to cut down Burmeister, and he's slow to get up after the loss of 8.
Walton off that edge, the corner blitz. Nobody there for him. Burmeister doesn't feel him. Burmeister back up, though. What a big play. Just what the doctor ordered. They needed a big stop, perhaps a turnover. They get it in the form right there of a sack. Now, you got to be careful because we've seen too many times Trey Turner burn them on a third down. Watch that double pump here.
Burmeister on the run, 3rd and long. Diving past the 30-yard line, but he needed the 35. Ace Ely on the stop after a 12-yard run from Burmeister, and it's 4th down.
Well, he made it interesting, and you know, we saw him banged up against Syracuse, Burmeister, last week. A little slow to get up and tender to the sidelines there. And one of his teammates out on the field, it looks like it might be Brock Hoffman, still down on the turf. I'm sorry, that's a 70. That's Clements. And this is an offensive line that's had to shift some guys around with the injury to Luke Tenuta. Clements starting today with Tenuta out.
I think you were right the first time, James.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. It is Brock Hoffman. There you go. Oh. Well, we get Parker Clements in to start some love with that. Anyway. There's the freshman Clements still out there, but it is Brock Hoffman. The junior, the transfer from Coastal Carolina, favoring that right leg. This has been a good performance by Justin Fuente's guys up front. Very physical on the offensive line last week and coming into this week. Good job defensively there by Georgia Tech. After the offense was held to a field goal, what looked like was to be a touchdown, come out and get a stop of their own to put the ball back in the hands of Jeff Sims and company.
Ray is deep. Peter Moore the punt. Ray comes up to meet it at the 29 and moves to his right. Not a whole lot of room. He's fighting hard, though. Second and third effort. Flag is out, and Ray took it up near the 35. There is a penalty marker. Initial indication against Georgia Tech.
Going to return. Illegal block in the back. Number 12 for the receiving team. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down, Georgia Tech.
So the penalty assessed against the Yellow Jackets and Jeff Collins, trailing 2010.
Cleopatra was the most powerful woman in Egypt. But no one likes a diva.
ACC College Football is brought to you by your local Sherwin-Williams paint store. And by your local Toyota dealers. Visit your local Toyota dealers today. And by Z-Max Micro Lubricant, available at O'Reilly's. The homecoming king and queen with the escort from the Ramblin' Wreck here at Bobby Dodd Stadium, the 72nd all-time homecoming game. Georgia Tech trying to snap a 2-game losing streak on homecoming. Their last win came back in 2017 against Wake Forest, 38-24. No homecoming game last year, James, because of the changed schedule for COVID considerations. We got through the year last year. It was incredible, and a credit to everybody who was a part of last season. And we move forward to this year, and it's great to see fans in the stands and the noise and electricity of college football.
Well, and that's the reason why the 1990 reunion that we had here at halftime wasn't last year because of COVID. They moved it back a year to this year. There you see the penalties. Virginia Tech still doing a great job of being one of the least penalized teams in the nation. Just 2 so far in this game to Georgia Tech's 6.
Sims got hit and the ball came loose. Hokies say they have it. The officials agree. Sims lost the handle on the hit. The ball was on the turf, but it was covered up by Peoples. Jalen Griffin had the hit from the backside of Sims.
Well, they get after him right from the giddy-up. There's pressure coming up off the edge, and we've seen so many times Amari Barno with the pressure on the edge. This time it's the other side, and Jalen Griffin there with the pop, and there's Peoples to fall on him. Bunch of Hokies around that football. Huge turnover. And after a defensive stop by Georgia Tech, right back in the hands of Braxton Burmeister. And this offense goes to football with a 10-point lead.
I count 3 penalty markers.
Ball start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Look back at the Pitt game. This is a defense that was asked to come out here. Sudden change. A couple fluky interceptions thrown by Jeff Sims. Nothing new for this defense to get out there and play sudden change. Pop up off the bench instead of sipping that Gatorade.
Brock Hoffman is back in at center. There's Burmeister right side at the 15. That's the Turner, who had 168 yards receiving in the first half, 94 yards after contact, and his 5th reception of the game right there.
Long throw and a big day for number 11, Trey Turner. Already a lot of football left to be played. Well, just when we brag on Fuente's guys, they get 2 quick penalties.
Offense, number 11. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Inside of 8 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. 2:15 on the East Coast. Don Wormy, James Bates, Wiley Ballard on the sidelines. And our outstanding ACC college football production crew with you from Bobby Dodd Stadium, the oldest on-campus facility in the Football Bowl subdivision. Burmeister for Virginia Tech. Oh, he got hit. Fake on the handoff, and watch out. Jared Ivey loss of 5.
Well, it's the decision. Do I hand it or not in making what looked to be the right decision at the time, but Jared Ivey changes all that right in the ear hole immediately of Braxton Burmeister. And this is what I'm talking about, sudden change. A defense of Andrew Thacker's that pops right out there after the turnover, trying to make some things happen and forcing Burmeister and the Hokies back the wrong way.
4 of 10 on 3rd down. Burmeister looking right all the way. Hits a man in stride inside the 20. That was Turner. He got upended. Quez Jackson on the hit.
Jackson had 12 tackles at halftime. He just keeps pouring them on. In this, holding to a field goal attempt is without a doubt a victory after that turnover deep in their own territory for this Georgia Tech defense.
34 yards, Parker Romo. The kick is true. His 3rd field goal of the game. He's also hit from 23 and 43 yards away. Both of those came in the 2nd quarter, and the lead is 23-10.
Well, and it was good to see Brock Hoffman back in there, giving him the dirty dance and throw up like baby. From Parker Romo getting rolled. Wow, that's a pretty mean look from a kicker. Whatever it takes, he's been good. solid job today. One more field goal. That's 3 now for John Parker Romo. And there's Hoffman. And that's good to see because just moments ago, he was helped to the sideline. Looked like pretty bad injury to his leg. So Virginia Tech fans got to be happy they've got one of their leaders on the offensive line back out there for right now anyway.
So Romo has now made 8 field goals in a row after going 2 for 2 a week ago in a loss at home against Syracuse. Jahmyr Gibbs is deep at his goal line. Georgia Tech has the football, and now a message from Works Nitro.
Meet Works Nitro. Powerful tools for any project with gas-like power without the gas. Fueled by PowerShare batteries to give you the power to outperform.
Feel like this is an important drive after that turnover. Felt like you had a little bit of the momentum back after, even though you didn't get into the end zone, that field goal. It cut the lead to 10. Let's see if Justin Hamilton's defense can create some havoc again.
Smith, no gain, 25-yard line. Yeah, he's back into the game. He had to go to the locker room a little bit earlier, evaluated and returning to the lineup. Jamari Connor, junior from Jacksonville, Florida, in that secondary for Virginia Tech. Sims escapes the pressure momentarily. Did get it away with player hanging all over now in Tisdale. And there's an injured Virginia Tech player behind the play, Mario Kendricks, number 22, defensive lineman.
Yeah, I think it was Kendricks that Sims was able to slip out of the grasp from. I don't know how he didn't drop him. How does Sims get out alive without it being a 6 or 7 yard loss and then able to get the football out? And here's a look at the all-22, the pressure. They're in a hurry, and there you see Kendricks going down. And Tisdale forcing him out of bounds, but good coverage down the field, and Kendricks is still down. The former Kissimmee Cowboy, Osceola, Florida, just south of Disney, down there south of Orlando. David Copperfield stuff, though, to get out of that pass rush. Sims looked like he was going to be dropped. He lived to play another down. Instead of a third down, probably about 16, you're looking at a third down and 10 here. It's still a long way to go. Defensively, where are they trying to run those routes? Got to get to that 35. Offensively, you got to break them off. Got to make sure you run those routes long enough, the correct distance. Get that first down and move those sticks. Big play here on 3rd and 10. Let's see if Hamilton brings some of those backers. 3 guys with their hand in the grass. They just bring 3.
3 of 9 on 3rd down. That pass is incomplete. Out of bounds. Nate McCollum was the target.
And those 3 guys, they put a little bit of pressure on Sims, even with the 3-man rush. That route was run. Would have been a first down, but he's already out of bounds as he secures that football. Makes the catch, but was out of bounds. Good call, and punting it away. Back to the Hokies.
So a field goal, fumble, and now punt on the 3 possessions in the second half for Georgia Tech. Robinson to the 40. And he'll amble out of bounds past the 45-yard line. Tavian Robinson. Great field position for Virginia Tech. And their fans have traveled to support them. We want to remind you to make sure to stay with us after the 3rd quarter for the 4th. Presented by CPI Security, starring James Bates.
Oh, don't do that to me. I get so nervous. What will we talk about?
You're nervous about trick-or-treating tomorrow. Trying to fill up your pillowcase down in Gainesville. Happy Halloween to everyone. We're enjoying ACC football. Burmeister, Turner, midfield. 3 yards on the pass play. 7 catches in the game now for Turner. 2 huge ones. A 69-yard TD reception. That was back in the first quarter from Burmeister. Also had a 61-yard reception that resulted in one of the 3 field goals from John Parker Romo, Blackshear. 3 yards for Blackshear. Turner's tied his career high with the 7 receptions. So watch out for 11 in white. See what they do on 3rd down.
And watch out for Burmeister, especially in this situation if nothing's there. Can't forget about that quarterback. He can tuck it and get you a few as good as anyone in the league.
To the right, the pitch. Blackshear. Is that going to be enough just inside the 45-yard line?
I think so.
If not, it's really close, and there's the indication. It is first down yardage.
A little option here.
I love that old school pitch, James. Love it.
Pitches it off of Ely. Yeah.
Donovan McNabb.
Well, you know, so much of today's football, the RPO is similar to that. The many options that you give this defense, headaches trying to defend what is never a drawn-up play, and if there's so many different things can happen throughout the course of the play once that ball is snapped. Very similar. Why not mix in some option on the edge where that quarterback can pitch it?
Malachi Thomas is now up to 16 carries in the game. Georgia Tech defense was ready, willing, and able.
We've seen a couple times of just this slow mesh in a slow decision by Burmeister, and he pays the price, and his Hokies pay the price as a team. But he's taking some big pops as soon as he pulls that ball out of the belly of the running back.
Jaquan Griffin on the play, James. A loss of 7, and the ball's back to midfield. Call this 3rd and 16. They need to get to the 34-yard line of Georgia Tech. Burmeister. The pocket collapses. He escapes. Doesn't get far. And a flag comes out. A lot of pressure from Georgia Tech as those edges were bending and caving in on Burmeister.
Face mask. Defense number 31.
Hold on.
Wow. Previous spot. First down.
Wow. It was going to be 4th down for Virginia Tech, and the face mask, automatic first down.
There's an open receiver, another. So we've had some miscommunication, what seemed, in the defensive secondary. A couple guys fall. There's another one falling. Burmeister unable to find him. And illegal hands to the face was the call, so Georgia Tech looked like they had the Hokies stop. We're going to get off the field again instead. It's a fresh set of downs in Georgia Tech territory.
Another crushing penalty. Here's a deep ball down by the pylon. It's incomplete. That was Turner. It was well defended by Swilling.
Nice job by Trey Swilling here, the cornerback. Very dangerous, deep threat, and Turner uses that sidelines, again, as his friend. You know, in coverage, that sideline is your friend as well, not just when you're trying to tackle guys out in the open field.
And Swilling does the right thing. Look back for the football. Really, it was Turner pawing at Swilling on that sideline.
So many times, you don't trust it. Pops Ken Swilling was part of that team honored here at halftime.
Burmeister. He'll just throw it away. There's a flag out at the 25-yard line. Burmeister also got hit after he threw the pass to nowhere. Marcus Woods, he and his crew busy this afternoon.
There is no foul for an eligible receiver downfield. Third down.
Let's make it third down on a stop and start third quarter with 2:11 to go. 23-10. Virginia Tech has the lead in the football against Jeff Collins and the Yellow Jackets. Remember 2 years ago, Virginia Tech came in here and shut out Georgia Tech 45-0. Trying to back it up here a couple years later with the lead late in the third. More flags.
False start. Offense, number 5. 5-yard penalty, third down.
That's 3 false starts now on this offensive line. And, you know, one of the effects of playing away from home, they've been playing in the friendly confines of Lane Stadium for so long, and it's not that loud down there. They're having a good time here at Bobby Dodd, but it's not deafening right now. Trying to get fired up on another money down. Third down and 15.
9th play of the drive. Burmeister got away, hit Blackshear. He gets wrapped up near the 35-yard line and taken down rudely, I might add. 3 yards on the play, and Blackshear paid the price. Wanye Thomas delivering the stop.
Thomas there to clean it up. Ace Ely, his reaction really helped to make that play. Shut down Blackshear. He missed the tackle, but he came up with so much force and so quickly before Blackshear could get his shoulders turned. He helped to make that happen.
This is a 53-yard attempt. This would be a career long for John Parker. Romo, no good. 53 yards away for Romo, who had been 3 for 3 for John Parker Romo, the senior.
Well, he had the leg. You mentioned it earlier. He kicked 8 in a row the last few games. Just a little bit wide, but plenty of leg. Got knocking down his own cameraman trying to get in position for that one. That was close.
So just outside the pipe for John Parker Romo. Georgia Tech has the ball back. Trying to get things moving here, James, late in the third quarter. 1, 2, 3 on the clock. Man open down the middle of the field. Into Virginia Tech real estate for Sanders. Big play, Georgia Tech. Third catch for Sanders and 20 yards.
Yeah. Nike Hawkins, I don't envy him. He's dropped in that zone. He's got his eyes on the quarterback. You see Jeff Sims look like he's going to run it a little bit. You got to react. That time he's actually reacting to Coco underneath. Sims eyeing him. Then goes for the better shot and moving that football. There's a nice pickup for the Jackets.
So now 44 seconds to go in the third quarter. Jackets need to get a move on. Sims has an open man at the 40. McGowan down the sideline. He's breaking tackles. He's inside the 25-yard line. Back-to-back first downs and chunk plays for Georgia Tech. Hawkins made the tackle, 21 yards on the play.
Great job by Malachi Carter, his teammate, blocking down the field to help to make that big play happen. They'll move the chains again.
Sims again. Toss to the end zone with air under it. And a diving attempt by Malachi Carter just off the fingertips, but he sold out for that one.
Yeah, maybe leaves his feet a little bit too early. He'll be able to cover a little bit more ground. See him kind of go airborne right now. A couple more steps on it, he may have a little bit of a shot, but still an incredible effort. And the ball just off the mark from Jeff Sims. A little bit of space back there in the corner, so second down and 10.
13 of 20, 154 yards and a TD pass for Sims. That in the first quarter to McGowan. Rolling it right, throwing at the 11. Sanders makes his move to the goal line and in. Adonicus Sanders, touchdown, Georgia Tech.
Putting Jeff Sims rolling out, putting him on the run, and then when he's got an arm like that, able to rifle it in to Adonicus Sanders as he scans that field. And then how about the fight by 12 to get it into the paint after the catch? And after the missed field goal by John Parker Romo, Jeff Collins' team now one touchdown away from taking the lead. A drive that went 4 plays, 64 yards in just a minute 18. They had the pedal to the metal and kept on going. And a lot of want to from Adonicus Sanders after that catch. Jeff Sims likes what he's seeing. And we go back to Tom, Jeff Collins. One thing that he really likes about this football team is they've got the rally in them. Last year's team, he admitted, hey, you know, we'd be down in the second half, and you kind of fold up the 10 a little bit too early. You go back to that Virginia game, the loss last weekend, they weren't folding up any 10. They took the Cavaliers after it looked like they were dead and gone to the wire. A couple onside kick covers. Same thing in that Duke game. They won it late. Hokies get the ball back here, trying to move it on a defense that's done a better job on them here in the second half.
Second TD pass of the game by Sims. This is Black. Chance Black up near the 20. Third TD reception for Sanders this season, and Georgia Tech making it interesting with that late TD. We're headed to the fourth. 23-17 Virginia Tech. We welcome you to the fourth, presented by CPI Security. Coming up in just a bit, the second half of our doubleheader, Syracuse-Boston College for a preview. Evan Lepler and Charles Arbuckle.
Tom Wormy, thanks so much. We are here inside the Carrier Dome, where the Orange, and I imagine Tom Wormy, still flying high after that comeback in Blacksburg a week ago. The Eagles are in town today to take on Syracuse to rekindle this old Northeast rivalry with the former tight end at UCLA, Charles Arbuckle. And Buck, Syracuse had a 3-game losing streak before the heroics late last week. BC arrives on a 3-game skid. However, Eagles have won their last 3 trips to the Dome.
Both of these ball clubs talk about lunch pail, hard hat mentality, and I think we're going to see a lot of that. The physicality of this game is what you want to stay tuned for, and then also to see if guys can finish. That is what both head coaches talked about all week long. We have to finish. So let's see if it happens.
Going to be a turning point. Heading into November, one of these teams is going to get their 5th win today. If we're thinking about bowl eligibility, this could be gigantic in determining the fate of these team seasons.
Yeah, this is one of those elevator games where one team can go up the elevator, one can go down. Let's see what happens after this ball game today.
Well, we are expecting plenty of surprises here on Halloween. Homecoming weekend in Syracuse. Kickoffs at 3:30, second game.
Imagine being connected to and securing your entire home with a simple
themed homecoming for the Yellow Jackets hosting the Hokies as we head to the fourth quarter. 23-17. Jeff Sims, a late TD in that third quarter, and the pass to Adonicus Sanders of 23 yards. Second TD pass of the game for Sims, and here we are, 23-17. As we start the fourth quarter, Virginia Tech has the football from its own 20. Burmeister slinging it left. Robinson the catch. James Bates, the numbers through 3 quarters.
Well, rushing yards, both teams trying to keep it going on that ground game. But for the most part, these defenses have done a good job of shutting down that run. And the third downs, 5 of 13 for Virginia Tech, just 3 of 10 for Georgia Tech. The turnovers we didn't have there was the one fumble from Jeff Sims. The defense able to get out there and hold the Hokies to a field goal. And Ely and this Yellow Jacket defense got it down to a 3rd down and short. Another big play coming here for Justin Fuentes' offense in the 4th quarter now.
Cash money down. Cash money trillionaire. Here we go. 3rd and short. Virginia Tech on 3rd down. 5 of 13 in the game. Pump fake of the throw. Burmeister. A mid-air attempt. An incomplete Caleb Smith. He was almost parallel with the ground as he tried to make that catch incomplete. Carpenter in the neighborhood.
Carpenter, who was banged up early, the smart heads-up play. And I don't mind the play call at all. I like rolling the dice. You got everybody with their ears pinned back trying to stop what you're thinking is a run. They sell it hard, a play-action pass, and the ball was there. But Tariq Carpenter, they're just a smart defensive play, knowing what they're trying to do to him.
Zende Ray wants a fair catch at the 19, and he's got it. So let's take an early breather in the 4th quarter. Georgia Tech has the ball. The Hokies have the lead, 23-17, ACC football.
And remember,
game of our doubleheader, Boston College at the Dome. And Dennis Grosel to take on the Syracuse Orange, 55th all-time meeting. Rivalry goes all the way back to 1924. The Eagles are 4-3 on the season, 0-3 in conference play. The Orange 4-4 and 1-3 in the ACC. Their victory in ACC play came against this Virginia Tech team in Blacksburg a week ago. So stay tuned for that. That is an old-fashioned Eastern football rivalry.
And that will be a heck of a game. It always is when those two get together, especially up there, it seems. And Garrett Schrader, we talk about all the heartbreakers for Virginia Tech. There have been quite a few for Syracuse as well until they finally pulled one off in Blacksburg last weekend. Hokies trying to hang on here on the road.
They had lost 3 games in a row, James, by a field goal, by 3 points each before breaking through. Here's breaking through Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs trying to outrun Virginia Tech. He cut it back at the 20 and stumbled. But that was a straight-up race to the end zone. Dorian Strong was able to get back there. And Gibbs is coming to the sidelines.
Better not be standing flat-footed when number 1 hits the hole. The blitz is on. They pick it up. They've got 2 guys there past him. You clear that first wave and you puncture the defense, and it's off to the races when number 1 has the ball in his hands. No whistles there. The whistle finally comes down late. And Jahmyr Gibbs trying to get it done here in the 4th quarter. Last week in the 3rd quarter, he went for 71 yards and a touchdown. There's one more look at it. They take care of both Hollifield and Tisdale. A 61-yarder before he slips up on the carpet.
And he immediately ran to the sidelines, too. Dante Smith is the back, number 4. Sims still has the football. Not a lot of territory to operate within. Tisdale closes the gap quickly. 2 yards, Jeff Sims.
You know, those big plays, go back to the keys. And one thing that we were looking for with the Hokies is for them to put it together, offensive and defensive performance. And they've done that. It's just got to happen for 4 quarters. And for Georgia Tech, the whoppers, the big plays, but they're starting to come out now offensively.
Last 4 games, 10 TD passes for Sims. He'll hand this one off. Jordan Mason's number 27. It's going to be 4th and short. They needed to get to the 10-yard line. 3 yards of the run by Jordan Mason, the junior.
Keeping the offense out there on 4th down.
1 for 1 on 4th down. That was a touchdown play in the 1st quarter. Sims to McGowan in the end zone.
They're getting fired up, but they need to quiet back down now. Quiet them down. Mikey Minahan and company saying, hey, I know you're excited, but we need help. We're on offense right now. Here we go.
Mason is the back. Trying to do the dirty work. Second effort. Needs to get to the 10. He got forced back. I don't think he got there, James. The Virginia Tech defense holding strong on 4th down.
Great job. J.P. Mason tried it with the second effort, but guys like Nasir Peoples, just physical as can be, stepping right up and stoning that offensive line. Excellent penetration by Pollard. And then here comes, that's our guy, Peoples, in there to clean it up at the very end. And he's going chest for chest with a very powerful runner. Down low is Hawkins. Fantastic job by Justin Hamilton's defense. A great big stop on 4th down. Now they can make some noise if they want to down at that end.
From the 11 for Burmeister. And the Hokies with the lead. Through the line, Blackshear. It's about 9 on 1st down for Blackshear. Ely on the stop.
Little extra juice running the football today, it seems like, for Blackshear. Saw Malachi Thomas run wild last week. He wants in on that action. We've seen a couple times where he's refused to go down, putting his hand down on the turf. That time falling forward for a few more. Nice gain on 1st down. Set up a 2nd down and short. Just got to take care of the football, Virginia Tech.
10 carries, 62 yards for Blackshear, trying to add to that total. Runs into Ely again, 25-yard line. First and 10 from the 25, Virginia Tech. 10.5 minutes to go in the 4th. Justin Fuente's team trying to stop a 3-game losing streak. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Lost 3 of the last 4 games in the series. Did win 2 years ago, 2019. Burmeister trying to freelance. He's going to run. Plenty of room. Burmeister to midfield. Carpenter ran him down. Burmeister on the scamper for 24.
Well, he was looking the direction of Tavion Robinson. They had him double covered down the field. Nobody left in the middle of the field, all cleared out. And there goes number 3. Can't forget about him tucking the football and running it. And he hasn't done it quite as much. Sometimes this season you've seen him make a living out of it, playing within that offense. They've really needed him to step up, and he's really gotten into a little bit of a groove here the last couple of weeks, playing within this offense and helping out his team. That's a big, big pickup for his football team there.
10 carries and 49 yards.
Offense, number 68, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Another false start penalty against Virginia Tech.
Other than that, where they had 1, maybe 2 penalties, other than the 4, I think it is, unofficially false starts. It's been a football team that's been very clean across the board, with the least amount of penalty flags thrown. Need to get on the same page there up front.
Blackshear batters his way to the Georgia Tech side of the 50. Ran into Wesley Walker, the redshirt freshman from Nashville, Tennessee, on the stop of Blackshear. So we've seen Andrew Thacker's defense face the 2-headed rushing monster of Thomas and Blackshear, combined with Burmeister as well, who's got 10 carries. Blackshear is up to 67 yards. He's the leading rusher on 12 carries. Burmeister, much better numbers than a week ago, where he threw for 177. He's got an open man, and Nick Gallo. Gallo let a man go by, shy of the 20. Jalen King forcing Gallo out. 1st down and more, and 26 yards.
Oh, what a nice little play. There's the read. Looks like now Burmeister, who's hurt you. Again, when you're successful at one thing in the game of football, man, everybody heats up. They've got to stop it. We got to find a way to stop Burmeister here. He's running the football on us now. So everybody, they see him pull that ball out of the belly of Blackshear and tuck it. Everybody alert, let me come up and make a play, but you forget about Gallo. Again, it goes back to the discipline. Discipline that Georgia Tech had trouble with early in this football game and making them pay the Hokies.
Blackshear tackled at the 15. He got 6. TK Chimedza making the tackle.
Moving bodies around up front. It's an offensive line. They've jumped off sides a few times, too many in this one. They've really done a fine job of opening some gaps for those running backs here today and protecting Burmeister for the most part.
Virginia Tech is 3 for 3 in the red zone today. Drive started at the Georgia Tech 11-yard line. After Virginia Tech's defense stopped Georgia Tech on 4th and short. And the Hokies have flipped the field on this drive as we close in on a 7-minute threshold, and there is a Virginia Tech player down. So we'll check on the Virginia Tech player when we come back. Hokies in front.
Introducing the first stain worthy of the yellow tag. New Yellowwood Protector semi-transparent stain and water repellent. Find a Yellowwood dealer near you.
When you order Domino's delivery online instead of at
This Made Here feature brought to you by Synovus.
Trey Turner, number 11, to the house to get the scoring started here. 69 yards out, 187. So far in this game with 7:02 left to play. The career high 187, 7 receptions. Had about 30 coming into this game here today, and the 1 touchdown here today, and hoping they can get one more out of number 11. 3rd down and short as Burmeister and the Hokies come to the line of scrimmage. They need 2 yards for a fresh set of downs. Jackets trying to get a stop.
Turner up over 2,200 yards in his career receiving. That is 7th best in Virginia Tech football history. 7:02 on the game clock in the 4th. Virginia Tech led 20-7 at halftime. Thomas in there as the back to the right of Burmeister. 24 gets the call, plowing his way down to the 10. Jordan Dominic the stop. 3 yards.
Nice job leading the way. Tight end lined up back there, Julius. Is that a Julius or an 86? I couldn't read that. Make sure I get it right. 86. That was Gallo. Sorry about that. Gallo and Julius both in there right now. Saw a lot of 2 tights in the Syracuse game last week.
1st and goal, Virginia Tech, just inside the 10. Thomas would drag a couple of Yellow Jackets down near the 5. The freshman from Hartwell, Georgia, got 5 yards. Burst on the scene a week ago. Jeff Collins knows all about it. Last week for Virginia Tech in a losing effort. Malachi Thomas, 151 yards rushing.
Virginia Tech needs to take their time here. Let that play clock tick on down. It's tough sometimes when you got a defense on its heels. You like putting that pedal down and not giving them a chance to come up for air, but at the same time, wisely letting this one tick on down. Chewing away at that play clock, that game clock rather, as well.
3 for 4 in the red zone of the game for Virginia Tech. Keep it on the ground. Thomas. And the clock continues to tick. Short gain. Ely tackle. The ball at the 3-yard line. 3rd and goal.
Be careful of that play-action pass when everybody's selling out, trying to stop that run. They've done a great job on back-to-back plays. Everybody's got to stay home. Play your position. Let your teammates make the play defensively.
Burmeister trying to find somebody. He won't. Burmeister take it down. Ely and a loss of 1. 4th down Hokies.
Exactly what I'm talking about right there. We got a banged up Yellow Jacket down there. But discipline. They don't bite on that jet sweep to Trey Turner. Everybody's staying home. And a nice job by Ely in the open field on a tough guy to bring down in Braxton Burmeister. And we'll check in on Charlie Thomas. It looks like the linebacker that's injured right now. Probably the field goal unit. Set the trot out there for Virginia Tech and make this a 2-score game.
If it is the field goal unit, 25-yard attempt for John Parker Romo would be upcoming. By the way, Ely now has 13 tackles in the game. His teammate Quay Jackson leads the way defensively for Georgia Tech with 14 tackles. Braxton Burmeister. Charlie Thomas trotting off the field as John Parker Romo gets ready for his field goal attempt. Peter Moore, the punter, will hold for Justin Fuente's team. Looking to make his 4th field goal in 5 tries in the afternoon for John Parker Romo. Senior from Peachtree City, Georgia. Four for 5. Officially a 21-yard field goal for John Parker Romo. He's 4 of 5. And he comes through again and gives Virginia Tech the lead, 26-17.
When you think of an airline, you think of the big...
Of Halloween, the Hokies have a 26-17 lead against the Yellow Jackets. That last drive. They stopped him on 4th and short, James.
Yeah, absolutely. What a great stop defensively. And then here comes the offense. Blackshear sets the tone on the ground. Burmeister as well. But a drive that ate up 7 minutes of clock, 85 yards in 12 plays. And it ends with John Parker Romo's 4th field goal of the day. And we've got ourselves a 2-score football game. That 5-star drive summary brought to you by Yellowwood. Doesn't have that yellow tag? Believe me, you don't want it.
4 of 5 in field goal attempts, John Parker Romo. Number 96. The only miss, by the way, was from 53 yards away. Would have been a career long for JPR. Gibbs. Jalen Stroman made the tackle on special teams. He's wearing the number 25 in honor of the legend, Frank Beamer. And the special teams proclivity for this Virginia Tech program over the years.
And making that number proud there on that one, bringing down Jahmyr Gibbs, a guy who, if anybody's going to set it off here late in this game and make something happen on special teams, it's Jahmyr Gibbs with the football. It's Stroman chopping him down before he could even make it to the 20-yard line.
Little bit of drizzle falling now here at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Sims, patience and time, 25-yard line. Pass complete to McGowan. They connected for a 26-yard TD pass on a 4th down play in the first quarter. Tate Daly on the stop. Georgia Tech got to go up tempo. Inside of 4 minutes to go. Sims trying to run away, and he won't. Sims pulled down. It's Barno.
Tom, how many times do we see somebody come free, but they're unable to touch Jeff Sims? That's not the case with the freak, Amari Barno. I mean, he runs him down and closes that gap in a hurry. What a huge sack for number 11.
Second sack of the game, Virginia Tech. Loss of 11. Here's Sims just heaving it. There is no receiver in the neighborhood.
They got some help. They got some help. Flags come out late.
Was it 41 Jalen Griffin?
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, number 41. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Here's another look at it. You're going to have a 4th down and 15. And it's just completely uncalled for. And he knows that Griffin, as soon as he does it, he goes to help Jeff Sims up. But just an awful time to have a penalty like that. Fuentes extremely upset, and his football team has done a fine job of staying away from penalties like that. Costly error here.
And the Jackets capitalize on that penalty to preserve the drive. McGowan was the receiver. You don't want to be on the receiving end of this conversation.
Griffin's made some good plays in this football game, too. It's a shame.
And remember, James, Virginia Tech least penalized in the ACC. 7 penalties for 60 yards. And the Yellow Jackets with their share of penalties as well. Although they have the ball, it is a 2-score game, trailing by 9. Could you imagine if Georgia Tech would line up for an onside kick? Sims just had to get rid of that one. You know what they've done this year on onside kicks, James, if it's necessary.
Well, you've got a guy that's the ACC Special Teams Player of the Week, and he didn't punt the football or score a point. And just by kicking 2 for 2 on onside kicks, 3 for 3 on the year. But first things first, you got to move the football. And this Hokie defense, they're bringing the heat time and time again. And this is a team full of special playmakers for Georgia Tech. They've just been stymied.
Just 3 of 11 on 3rd down. Sims backtracking. It was deflected by Jordan Mason, who tried to make a one-handed grab, and Hawkins almost came up with it. And now 4th down for Georgia Tech.
And the Hokies, they're really starting to have some success, too. And yeah, that's a screen play, so you're going to get some pressure. But they've been able to pressure Jeff Sims with 3 or 4 rushers. Doing a good job up front. What do they have on 4th down and 10?
1 for 2 in the game on 4th down. You gotta go. Yellow Jackets. Sims intercepted. Armani Chapman intercepts the pass of Jeff Sims.
Chapman perhaps sealing the deal. A hard ball, a little bit high, taking advantage of it. Smart defensive play. Shut it down. Don't turn it back over. Big time.
Imagine being connected to and secure.
Continues at the Carrier Dome with Garrett Schrader in the orange, taking on Boston College after last week. Schrader rushed for 3 TDs and threw for 2 more. Leading Syracuse to victory on the road in Blacksburg against these Hokies. The Eagles in the orange, 55th all-time meeting from the Dome coming up. Evan Lepler, Charles Arbuckle, and Rebecca Fiorentino. On the call for you at the Dome, most of you will see the second game of our ACC doubleheader along these regional sports networks. 3:02 to go in the 4th. First interception of his career for Armani Chapman, the sophomore from Virginia Beach, Virginia, in that secondary, and Virginia Tech has taken over possession late in the 4th.
Fuente may need to shave every week now. He had that beard all season, turning that luck around, but got to finish it off. 3:02 remaining, and Georgia Tech with all 3 timeouts.
That's Thomas. James, keep in mind that Virginia Tech has won 28 straight games under Justin Fuente, holding opponents to 21 points or fewer. Georgia Tech with 17 on the board right now.
And it's a pretty good offense that they're holding to under 20 points right now. 26-17 lead. And Braxton Burmeister has done a really good job bouncing back the last couple of weeks. His whole offense struggled against a good football team in Pitt. One of the better teams in the ACC right now, and they were struggling to Pitt Panthers earlier today trailing the Miami Hurricanes, but last we saw came back and tied it up at 31 in the second half. So first timeout used by Jeff Collins, 2 on the board, and 2:56 left on the clock. Here's an update. Miami on top 38-34. Thank you, Tom.
That's what's, yeah, 7 minutes to go in the fourth. Pitt has the football. We'll see the Hurricanes next week as they'll host Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's won 2 in a row in that series, and they hadn't played since 2019, just like this rivalry being renewed hadn't been played since 2019 when Virginia Tech dominated its last visit to Bobby Dodd Stadium 45-0.
There's the numbers for Burmeister here today, the transfer from Oregon. You know, and he's been helped the last couple of weeks with the run game, the offensive line, just banging guys around, and Blackshear quite a bit today, and Malachi Thomas, especially last week, running that football. It's helped to open things up in that passing game.
The 248 yards passing, a career high for Braxton Burmeister. He had thrown for 223 yards in the loss at West Virginia. By the way, that's the only other road game Hokies have played all season. What a weird schedule. 6 of their first 7 at home, 4 of their last 5 on the road, including today. Malachi Thomas. Keep it moving inside the 45. First down and more, 11 yards.
And that's the kind of fight that has been impressive with this group from Virginia Tech. It hasn't been pretty. They've lost. They've dropped a lot of games at home, and people are starting to chirp up there. But last week on into this week, this is a football team that comes out and plays their guts out. I mean, you come creeping in here, you're on the road, it's raining, it's cold. This is a football team that was ready to play physical football. And you can't just go half speed and play physical football like they have today, but they continue to do it and will continue to do it to the very last whistle today. And I think that says a lot about a program. It says a lot about Justin Fuente and his coaching staff. And yeah, they've been far from perfect, but they at least continue to fight. And there's a lot of want to left in this football team.
Hokies 3-3 at home this season, coming off the loss at Lane Stadium a week ago to Syracuse. But down here in Atlanta with a 20-7 halftime lead and 1:58 on the game clock in the fourth, and a 26-17 lead for the visiting Hokies.
There's the numbers for Malachi Thomas, 84 yards. You know, and I'll go back to one thing. Last week I saw it. Malachi Thomas is starting to run wild a little bit, putting on a show. Blackshear goes in there for one play, and then they take him out on the next play. And I just saw the shoulders drop on Blackshear. He wanted to stay in there. You know, a fighter wants to compete. But he didn't hang his head into the rest of that game or into this game. Blackshear has been a big part of what looks to be a win here today. Running the football hard, the 1-2 punch with Malachi Thomas and Blackshear. It has been really good behind that offensive line.
Thomas that time. Blackshear has 14 carries for 83 yards, and Burmeister has 11 carries for 48 yards, and he's thrown a couple of TD passes as well. TD pass of 69 yards and 4 yards on a fourth down play, both of those in the first quarter for Virginia Tech. Two for 3 in the fourth quarter on third down for Virginia Tech. Thomas, if he had kept his footing, he might have gone the distance.
Yeah, he would have run it all the way back to Hart County.
He got 10, James. First down.
Yeah, you see that emotion over there on the sidelines. Fuente and his player.
Georgia Tech is out of timeouts. And the clock ticking down after that first down run of the 25-yard line. Justin Fuente just 40 seconds away from his 42nd win as the head coach for the Hokies. And boy, did they need it, James, right? They'd lost 3 in a row, 4 of their last 5. They hadn't won a game since September 25th at home against Richmond. And that's all they need. Fuente and the Hokies all smiles on that sideline. 491 yards of total offense. They come to Atlanta and come away with a road victory, 26-17 in the final seconds. Tick off the clock, James Bates.
And able to weather that little bit of fire that Georgia Tech came out with in the second half made things interesting there, but able to kind of regain their footing and get back on top and play some physical football. And that, I think, is the thing that stands out the most to me, is it's a football team. Just 3 wins coming, haven't won a game. You just mentioned it in over a month. Find a way to fight, find a way to win. And heck, you got Boston College next week. You got a couple games on your schedule, winnable football games. This is a team that may find their way to 6 wins after all and go bowling.
It's a Friday night game at Boston College, 7:30 start. They won at home against BC a season ago in Blacksburg. They've got the win in Atlanta. Pretty even offensively. 248 yards passing, 239 rushing for Virginia Tech. Jeff Collins' team, 183 through the air, 183 on the ground. And so we can go down to the sideline. Wiley standing by with one of the stars of the game.
Thanks, Tom. We're joined by wide receiver Trey Turner, 187 yards receiving, the big touchdown catch. But first and foremost, tell me about this team battling on the road and getting a win. How'd you guys do it?
We're heart. We're always going to have heart. I'm telling guys, 3-game losing streak, like, what else do y'all want? Y'all want to keep losing or we're going to get this win? So we finally got us one. It's a lot of emotion that went into that win right there. Like, we had to go from start to finish. We couldn't let up. And that's what we were saying at halftime. Like, we was up, but I was screaming, do not let up, bro. Like, you cannot let up, because you've seen us. We'll come out second half, and the whole script will change. So I'm glad we fought and battled out the rest of the game this week.
How about your defense forcing 2 turnovers, some key stops there in the second half? How proud are you of that group?
No, those was big-time stops. I was on the sideline. I'm telling everybody, like, yo, get up. The defense has to get these stops. When they got the stop, man, I was so turned. And then Barno getting sacked. Like, it was a good game to watch on the defense side of the ball today.
And then offensively, back-to-back weeks, you guys seem to have found some rhythm. How much more confident is that group?
Oh, we have all our confidence rolling. We're rolling now. Like, I like us. I know we like us. We just got to go out and execute every game now.
And before I let you go, you got a big Virginia Tech section there in the corner of the end zone. You've been waving at them. How much did they mean to you guys today?
They always mean a lot. Like, the fans, they always going to be there regardless of what's going on during the season. Like, they're always going to cheer for their players. That's how they work. So I see my mom from a distance. I haven't talked to her all day, so I'm ready to go get over there and give her a hug.
Yeah, you got to give her a shout-out, right?
I got to. Hey, Mom, I love you. My dad back home, I love you, too. All my family back in Greensboro, I love y'all. I love the city.
Trey Turner, our player of the game. Trey, congrats on the win. Enjoy that flight home.
Thank you. You have a nice one.
All right, we'll go back upstairs.
A career best 187 yards on 7 receptions for Turner. His team close to 500 yards of total offense. Trey Turner, a touchdown catch of 69 yards in the first quarter. He broke free wide open. Selfies, and the celebration is on in Atlanta for Virginia Tech. Burmeister unloads. 69-yard pass play. 26-17, more to come from Bobby Dodd Stadium. Tech and Justin Fuente on the road to get the win. 26-17, just their second road game of the season. Their first road game in ACC play, and they got the job done. Close to 500 yards of total offense for Virginia Tech to get the victory. They hadn't won in over a month, but they come to Atlanta. They've had success here, James. This program has now won 5 of the last 6 visits to Bobby Dodd Stadium against the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the 45-0 drubbing from 2 years ago, but they'll take a win right now any way they can get it. When it's been over a month since your last win, then finally you got to go on the road to get one. And that right there, that video, the clip we had of his linebacker, Dax Holyfield, just getting all fired up with Justin Fuente, that really says it all. And listening to Trey Turner's interview with Wiley
Riley Ballard.
Exactly.
That says it all as well. Even the shot as we went, Malachi Thomas up in the stands with his family from Georgia. I mean, it's a good day to be a Hokie right now. They've got to be feeling pretty good about themselves right now after going through all that junk to come out and play like they did today.
You know, they had a lot of support here at the stadium in that corner of the end zone, and they delivered. Let's take a look at some of the action. Burmeister had a couple of TD passes. A long one here, 69 yards, Turner.
Yeah, Trey Turner going over. He's probably talking to Mama right now, giving her her first hug of the day. Well, first score of the day came from her son, Trey, a 69-yard catch and run. A great run, great effort from him. On fourth down at the other end, Jeff Sims to McCowan. A great throw, and it was tied at 7. But then back down. You go for it on fourth down. We're going to go for it on fourth down. A 4th and 1. The play action pass, Burmeister to Robinson. Here's another big play to Trey Turner to set up the first field goal from John Parker Romo. This one from 23 yards out, and it was good.
John Parker Romo was 4 of 5 in the game. His only miss was from 53 yards away. And Turner made the grab for 61 yards. He had a career day in receiving yardage. And on to the third quarter. Georgia Tech trying to fight back into this one. And they get the field goal there.
Look at the face. Oh, that's a Halloween.
Yeah, that's John Parker Romo.
Got kickers getting into the monster mash. And mashing that football. The 4 field goals today for John Parker Romo. And even that one, the 53-yarder, had the leg. It was just wide. Here's Adonicus Sanders on quite a play, strumming that banjo after he scores. So into the fourth quarter, and it looked like it was going to be one heck of a fourth quarter. John Parker Romo adding his 4th field goal. And that one from 24 yards out. Maybe a little trash talking even for the guy there down at his feet. There, Jeff Sims and company on fourth down, too high and too hard. And an interception. Second turnover of the day for Georgia Tech. Back in the hands of Virginia Tech.
Got Chapman with his first career interception, and that kind of sealed the game. And we look at the numbers, and we told you that actually both teams pretty well balanced as far as offense was concerned, but Virginia Tech up to 487, well above their season average, James. They were 13th in total offense coming into this game in the ACC.
Yeah, absolutely, and able to run the football, and it sure opens up the rest of the game. And you look down there at third downs, to hold Georgia Tech to 3 of 12 on third downs is pretty good. Now, Justin Fuente, the penalties, and we saw him as about as hot as we've ever seen him after the penalty on what was going to force a 4th down and 15. A late hit on Jeff Sims gave him a fresh set of downs and extra hope. Unable to do anything with it, but 7 penalties for 61 yards, and some of those very silly penalties. It's something that they've had clean the whole season. They need to get cleaned back up if they want to capitalize and keep on winning football games.
Georgia Tech, unfortunately, has now lost 3 in a row on homecoming, and Virginia Tech wins the 18th all-time meeting between these two programs, and we spoke about it. You know, it's interesting with Georgia Tech. They'd had the pattern of win-loss, win-loss. They lost last week against Virginia, so they were looking for the W on the schedule. Virginia Tech, the Hokies had other ideas, James.
Yeah, and Georgia Tech, another thing, they've had a little bit of a pattern of getting out of the gate really fast. Like at Virginia, they were up 16, could have been 28-0 early on, but 16 fast out the gate and then had to rally at the end. This one, they were always playing from behind and unable to rally there at the end. And that's not just because they weren't able to rally. It has a lot to do with the Hokies and the way they play defense. Justin Hamilton's defense really got after it today.
It's amazing how one game can change the complexion of an entire season. Remember, Virginia Tech had lost 3 in a row, James. They come on the road. They win at Georgia Tech. Now they're going to head to Boston College for a Friday night game in Chestnut Hill.
Yeah, and how about the highs and lows of this season? They open the season. Into Blacksburg comes UNC ranked number 10 in the nation.
Exactly.
And they shut them.
Good point.
You know what, though? They shut them down by playing this kind of football, by playing smash mouth, physical. They were tougher and more physical than UNC that weekend. And then they had Notre Dame, a chance to beat Notre Dame, had them on the ropes. There's our guy Malachi Thompson with his family from Hart County, having a good time celebrating that win. We'll be back to wrap it up.
Are you or someone...
Virginia Tech wins it on the road against the Yellow Jackets 26-17. And the Hokies are now 4-4 in the season. Coming up next on most of these ACC stations, Boston College takes on Syracuse. Check your local listings, game and time in your area. For James Bates, Wiley Ballard, and the rest of our outstanding production team, I'm Tom Wormy. Have a safe and happy Halloween from Atlanta.